John London is on his way and should be here in about 10 or 15 minutes, as well as Council President Spivey. So we'll go ahead and begin our Ordinance Committee meeting. You have received drafts from Legal Counsel Lauren Brasher. One of them has the notes. The other is our current ordinance that's on our Muni Code site. And so you'll have both of them that you can refer to. I've also giving out a couple of handouts to help you and having an understanding of why I made some additions to help you knowing where that came from. Okay, so the first one is fairly easy. Section 2. Let's begin with a roll call before we do anything. Roll call, please. Councilman Box.
Here.
Councilman Sims.
Here.
And myself here. We have 3 members of the council, and we do have a quorum. So in looking at section 2-132 on our council membership, if you look at the noted section that's in color that Lauren has kindly provided for you with the lavender colored highlights. Section 2-132, the only thing we're doing there is deleting. It consists of 5 council members, and that is because we're over the 12,500 population. Prior to that, and still now, any municipality that has less than that, the mayor is part of the membership. In this case, we're well over that, and that's why that needs to be deleted. Any questions on that?
When did our population, do we know when? Okay, when did the form of government change from?
That's a good question. I don't know, but I know the previous administration in 2016, it consisted of 5 council members. I believe the 2012 also consisted of 5, and then prior to that time, I think that's when they were below.
Well,
Yeah.
I noticed that this is from 2011, an ordinance in 2011,
Right.
which I thought would have been that swap the form of government.
When I started on the council in 2008, it was 5. It was 5 of us, but it still wasn't the council president.
It was a heavy mayor.
Yeah, it was just, the mayor participated and was a part of the council. I would have to say it changed in 2012 because the census came out. It's every 10 years.
Yeah, and that's when I remember seeing 5 members of the council, and then the mayor was sitting and would be listening and participating, but didn't have a vote. All right, on section 2- any questions? Are we good with that? All right, section 2-148, the general purpose. I made some comments on the side because there was this recommendation that we add language that says otherwise adopted by resolution. I believe that opens the door for changes at any time. And I would rather have that remain in there because that is what we've had throughout the years. And again, a resolution is not binding, whereas an ordinance is. And it's why I felt it was prudent to leave it in there. But you're welcome to make your comments.
I know just talking to the city attorneys off and on, I think they were suggesting making it a resolution. Is that correct? You were saying you wanted to say an ordinance.
Yes, for the reasons that you really don't have anything that's binding. And so that opens the door to making changes at any time. And as you know, a resolution doesn't require unanimous vote. It's simply a majority. And I'm looking at what we currently have in place, and I think what we have in place is really what we should have.
I mean, ordinance also just requires a majority.
an ordinance, you have to have a unanimous vote at first,
Correct. I mean,
and then
ordinance or
afterwards.
resolution, they can both
Right,
be
and so
changed,
what it does is it pauses it, gives you time to discuss it further if you want to reconsider. So that's the reason that I felt it would be prudent to leave it in. Councilman Box, would you like to make comments on that?
If it's already there, I don't see a problem with the verbiage of the statement.
Okay. Just so that I'm clear, you're saying to leave it as is without changing it.
If that statement is already existing,
It is not.
it
It
is
is,
not existing.
right,
This was
part that
suggestion
says-
by April, correct?
right. CC1 is our legal. CC2 is my comment. If you'd like some more time to think about
I'm,
that.
Quite frankly, it's semantics to me. So if there's some reason why we need to have that additional statement, I'm fine with adding it. If there's really not a reason for it, I mean, we can overbuild ships sometimes.
Right,
The
and
military has a great habit.
that's correct. And I've made it the notes. The ordinance has always been that way. Without a resolution, it's always said, the rules of order procedure herein contained shall govern deliberations and meetings of the city council. That's why they gave you the current Muni code. So if you look at section 2-148 and what we currently have in place, that helps in knowing what we currently have in place.
All right. Well, as I said, I'm pretty much neutral on that, Cindy, because
Okay?
I don't think what we're doing is not working. There are definitely areas that we have improvement, but I don't see where this area has not been working.
Right.
Quick question, when we voted on the order of business, I guess it was recently, was that a resolution or was that an ordinance?
It was an ordinance.
Why is it not listed?
It's shown here, and we'll get to that one. We'll get to that. It's further down the ordinance. Are you all good with just moving on? So
I
that,
am.
okay,
yeah.
very good. Let's look at section 2-150, pre-council meetings. That's on page 2 of the original Muni code, and then you'll have to flip to page 3 to see the actual language. The pre-council meetings, I asked if we could add some language that states, in the interest of time, during the regular city council meeting, when there are several items on the council agenda, the city council may hold pre-council meetings to discuss the agenda. That's all we added, was that lavender section. Our legal team rewrote the blue that I had there, which is much better than what I had. So I want to thank them for doing that. But I wanted to add that so that it's clear when you would want to have a pre-council meeting.
Well, I've long been an advocate that watching the mayor when he was on council and them having pre-council meetings from time to time, I think that can only be advantageous.
I agree. It's why I asked that we add that language. Aaron?
I just don't see why adding a sentence changes anything. I mean, we already may hold a pre-council meeting.
Right, we're just defining, why
For whatever
do we
reason we
have
want.
it when we've got a lot of items on the agenda and we don't want to be here until 9, 10 o'clock at night. So if we can discuss these things in a pre-council meeting, that certainly will save some time. And it's why we added the sentence there.
But I mean, it's already in that. I'm just trying to figure out why we're taking what is already
What,
there.
what
and
are you
adding.
referring to, taking what's there?
The city council may hold pre-council meetings to discuss the agenda items for the regular city council meeting at the call of the presiding officer.
We're just explaining why, when you would want to do this.
I guess I'm just we're gonna make a law, it just needs to be specific. We don't need a story to go with the law. I don't know, I guess that's
It's not
just
it.
from
It-
writing contracts.
It's simply one that brings clarity to it.
A does
Really,
B, that's all we need, in my opinion. That's just,
The only problem I would see with it is, you need to define, or we would need to define what, several items would be. You know, let's put a number. Because several items could be 2, or several items could be 222. So if we're gonna
All
break it
right,
down
what do you
that way,
recommend,
break it
Robert?
down.
Councilman Box, what do you recommend as far as defining it?
I don't
What is
think
several
that if
items?
automatically we have 15 items, we have to be forced to have a pre-council. I mean, they could be, I think it's situational dependent, which it's already, if we need one, we've got the ability to call one.
And not to disagree with you at all, sir, except for the fact that I think a pre-council meeting is always in order. Maybe that's just what I was used to from the past, from being out there watching and things like that. I think it's a productive thing to do, for the council to sit down and talk about things before they sit down here and try to hash everything out. I just think that's a wise thing to do, and why our council went away from it, I don't understand. But that's my opinion.
I concur, Councilman Box.
How
I've
we
said out there,
word it or how we do that is immaterial to me. I just think we need to start having pre-council.
and if you had been coming, Councilman Sims, to several of the council meetings, they are much more productive when you do have the pre-council meetings. You get a lot of things done. And when when you do have your council meeting, you're ready to conduct the business of the city. And there's not all of the deliberation, there isn't all of that, but you've already done it in the pre-council meeting. And it just
I've been to
makes for a
many.
better, a much more efficient run meeting.
It's the same amount of time. You're just saying it's in 2 meetings or 1 meeting. And I just don't see the point of having a meeting to have a meeting. Let's just have a meeting. I mean, I've said that before, but again, I mean, we have the ability to call a pre-council anytime we want right now. So
If you would be attending the meeting, sir, you would certainly understand why they had the pre-council meetings.
no, I
And
went
that
to a
is
lot
the
of them.
reason for adding this
The same
part.
discussions are
Any
happening in
interest-
both.
They don't.
We're
I,
gonna have it before, or we're gonna have it during. It's all gonna take the same as many hours as it's gonna
it,
take.
it will not. If we would have had one this year, I think, you would certainly understand where Councilman Box and I are coming from. So, are we good with leaving this language in here? Councilman Box,
Yeah, I'm fine.
okay,
My thing is more important. I don't care about the language as much as I care about that.
okay, thank you. Let's move on to page 2. Still with section 250. Following the pre-council. Our legal team is saying, that really should be included in a resolution. And I just simply noted this is for pre-council meetings. In previous administrations, when pre-council meetings were held and the council members covered items on the agenda, the public was allowed to ask one question. If there was time and the sponsor of the resolution was available to answer the question, this could be done. If not, they waited for the council meeting to ask their question. Having questions asked at pre-council meetings saves time, and secondly, leaving it in the ordinance ensures that it will be followed while still leaving it to the discretion of the presiding officer.
My opinion on that is a pre-council meeting is basically for the benefit of the council to hash over some things.
Yes.
Public comments or questions at that time should be held for the regular meeting and the agenda at the regular meeting.
Right.
That if you get into discussions with the public during that time, you may not be able to make the progress you need to make in a pre-council meeting, ergo why have the pre-council meeting?
Right, that is only if there was time.
I wouldn't even allow for only at the time, because.
Okay, so do you want to remove that, language? But leave it here in the ordinance and say, and with time permitting, the public attendance will be permitted to ask one question. You want to remove that?
Yes,
Okay,
I see no point in engaging with the citizens at that time when we're supposed to be getting clarification,
So we
deciding on
can-
things that we want to move forward so that it helps the regular meeting move forward.
Okay.
Ergo, making more time for the regular meeting when we get into more of a peaceful agreement and more of a spirit of camaraderie to move things forward.
so you're saying let's just go on and remove that whole paragraph, right?
I don't think it's needed.
Okay.
I think having a pre-council meeting is needed, but engaging with the public waits for the council meeting itself.
All right, very good. Councilman Sims?
I can get behind that, I think. Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna discuss the items, let's discuss the items.
All right, so we'll remove that paragraph following the pre-council meeting. We'll remove that whole paragraph. The next paragraph states, special meetings of the council may be held at the call of the presiding officer upon such notice as he deems appropriate. And I added some language there, and council members have received advance notice about the need for a special meeting. However, all that is needed for a special meeting is a quorum. And the reason I asked for that language is demonstrates courtesy towards council members on special meetings called for by the presiding officer. And I also noted calling a special meeting without notifying council members if they can attend is not professional, nor should it be encouraged.
Did the header get knocked off of this? Shouldn't this be section 2, 151, special
It-
meetings?
It falls under pre-council meetings.
A
It's-
special meeting is an entire meeting.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's section 2-151. That
Yeah.
was the only, they left out that section. And I noted that in my comments. Is there a reason for deleting the section 2-151 special meeting? Because I didn't see it either, Aaron. So I asked that in my comments. Is there a reason that we're deleting that? Lauren, do you know why we deleted that? Okay, then it would be my inadvertent error, and I am sorry.
So it is
For
a
that.
different section.
Yes, it
Okay.
is. Because I'm showing it on mine too, so I apologize.
Okay, no worries. Just wanted to make sure we were straight.
So we need to add that section 2-151, special meeting. And again, getting back to the additional text, are you good with that? And council members have received advance notice about the need for a special meeting. However, all that is needed for a special meeting is a quorum.
I just don't think we need the extra, I mean, we haven't defined advance notice.
It doesn't define it.
I mean, basically, if the city needs a special meeting, I think the president needs to be able to call a special meeting. And
Without
we'll
letting the
get notice.
council members know in advance that he needs to call a special meeting?
I mean, I think it's a special meeting because sometimes stuff happens.
True, but
Um,
you have a problem with him letting the council members know in advance?
Well, I think a majority of the time, we're probably going to get notified, but I'm just saying, I don't want to
There
get
have been times when
pigeonholed
we haven't.
where
It's,
something happens and then we don't get notified, we can't have a meeting. I mean, we're going to get notified because we've got to make 24 hours notice, isn't it?
it's true, but many of us, including yourself, may be out of town
Correct.
24 hours in advance, but you might not be out of town if you knew maybe 2 or 3 days, you could rearrange your schedule.
State law unless there are certain exceptions. And so requiring absolute notice here is sort of contradictory to the state law.
What does the state law require?
It requires the council president to attempt to give notice, but if there are, what's the language? If it is practically impossible, and one of the examples is if the council member's out of town. So,
And see, we don't know that, so would it be prudent to add that in there? I mean, we didn't know that. There have been times where there have been special council meetings and we weren't given advance notice. It's why I added this language.
May I make a comment?
Yes.
I think you're talking about me a little bit on this one, about
Yes,
calling a special council meeting.
yes.
My suggestion would be, is obviously we have a deadline of Tuesday to get our stuff in so that we can get the agenda by Thursday.
No, we're talking about special meetings. We're not talking
Okay.
about council meetings.
Okay, I thought you were talking about pre-council
No, no.
for some reason.
Special meetings.
Okay,
I can't speak to what has happened in the past, but notice is required. It doesn't necessarily have to be written notice. Generally, the city clerk puts it on the website. That is likely sufficient notice of all councilors.
So posting it on the website 24 hours before the meeting is, you're saying, is ample notice for council members. And I'm saying, if a council member has to be out of town that next day and they only find out 24 hours before, I think we should, it's courteous as well as professional to let them know, hey, we've got a council meeting, at least maybe two days and not 24 hours before, to give the council member time to rearrange the schedule.
Generally, I think the idea of a special meeting is something that's come up that requires a meeting on short notice that might not allow for multiple days.
Right, but we do have language where it states where, you know, if it's an emergency and you can't give it, that's where those exceptions are made. But when you have special meetings where you don't have emergencies, wouldn't you agree that it's courteous and professional to let the council know at least 48 hours before so that they can look at their schedules? We all have full-time jobs. We've all got meetings on our calendars. And we do try, it's a means of building that cohesiveness and collegiality by letting us know in advance to have us rearrange our schedules. But 24 hours before doesn't really make that allowance if you've got something and you're not able to get out of those commitments.
I'm just, the law requires 24-hour notice. If it's a policy call, if you all want to require more than that, but state law says 24 hours. And you get into kind of what's an emergency versus what's not an emergency in order to meet these other exceptions. So state law is 24 hours.
Yeah, that is what the state law says. And again, all I'm asking is we add that language, but you still have the out if you have an emergency where it absolutely has to happen tomorrow. You know, that's all I'm saying. How many times have we had special meetings where it absolutely had to be the next day? At least two, right. And the other times, it didn't absolutely have to be the next day. And all I'm saying is this helps us where we're able to rearrange our schedules if we have at least a 48-hour notice. Anyone want to weigh in on that? Councilman Box?
I'd like to know how many special meetings that we've had to have that fell within the 24-hour notice. Because I don't recall ever having a problem except when I was at the beach that time when we had to have a special meeting and we called in and although we weren't voting, we were, and that was actually just an executive session. I don't think it was a meeting. So
Correct.
how many times have we had special meetings that this has been an issue? Would you like to acknowledge Councilor London? He's come in.
Oh, sorry, Councilor London. Please come up and join us.
thank you.
Okay?
So anyway, that's my question, Councilman, Committee Chair Cuellar, is, how many times have we had this be an issue? I know, our legal counsel has reminded us of 2 special meetings. Is that executive session included in those 2 special meetings, or would that be in addition to it?
Those are the executive session, but those are special meetings.
Correct.
We have an executive session.
So in the period of our seating and administration, we've had 2. So I don't see more than a 24-hour thing necessarily being required. Now, if this has verbiage in it that talks about contacting a committee chair about adding things to an agenda, but I don't see anything in here about that. That's a separate issue. So
No, this is a special meeting section.
I'm good with where we are, simply because I haven't seen any adverse effect at this point from just maintaining the 24-hour
Well,
notice.
I'll give an example.
Okay.
We had the issue where we needed to have interviews with our vacancy on the CDA, and it shows up, you know, and it would have been nice to have had advance notice so that you could change your schedule to attend those interviews, and you're not having to move mountains to get it done. And so those are some instances, and I just think it's just common courtesy. When you've got something that is not an absolute emergency, like an executive session, but you've got these others that, what is the harm in letting someone know 48 hours before of something like this kind of special meeting example I just given you? I don't see where there's a harm, but I do see where that's extending a courtesy to the council members.
May I speak on
That's,
that?
yes.
So I'll take my whippings in public on that, because that was me. Okay. I think that's probably one of the only times I called a meeting where I didn't ask anybody, or it wasn't mutually agreed upon beforehand. I lightly referenced it that we had this coming up, and in an effort not to have the interviews in the council meeting, I piggybacked to 5 o'clock, the same preference I would normally make when we ask about a meeting, ordinance meeting or some other meeting. We usually do it at 5 o'clock before our regular scheduled Tuesday. I will take the criticism on that. I did not ask. If that one example is what is spurring this language, just know that I will do better if that is what you're driving at.
What I'm saying is, if we have this language, then it helps us to remember. That's all I'm saying here. That's it. It helps us to remember, because we are human. You're absolutely right, Council President Spivey. And this helps us to remember. And having 48 hours is not really asking for a lot for a special meeting. And we're not talking about an executive session where we have to have 48 hours, because we certainly were able to work with the executive session, but we're talking about other special council meetings. And it's why I thought it would be good to add that language. And we do have the language where when you do have these emergencies and it is virtually impossible to do it, then you would go with that 24 hours.
But that's only for specific things
Yes.
that we've not had to deal with.
Right. So because,
So we're trying to change it, from 24 to 48.
no, what I'm saying is, if you look at the handout that our legal counsel's given you, if you look at the language as notice as he deems appropriate, and council members have received advance notice about the need for a special meeting. However, all that is needed for a special meeting is a quorum. And I'm saying, let's put that in there, but let's not take out the part that says, number 2, councilman making the request shall have the right to call such meeting. Special meetings may be held without furnishing a 24-hour advance written notice to pick up on those emergencies where you've got to have these executive sessions. Are we allowed to do that?
Those are instances where the 24 hours is not required. So that's a little different than what we're talking about here, where for just a general special meeting, that would be 24 hours required.
Okay. So if we can, if you want to add language that says, you know, for executive sessions, that's not necessary about receiving advance notice. But when you've got these other meetings where I just gave an example, I'm just saying, what is the harm in letting them know 48 hours in advance? There is no harm. And when you don't have it in there, I've just given an example where it hasn't, Councilman London, and I'm just saying if we add this, we've got something that can help us to remember. That's all.
24 help us remember.
Well, I gave an example where all of us are working and we're busy, and telling me on a Monday that we're having something on Tuesday, and I've already got something on my calendar for Tuesday, that's really not giving me advance notice. But if you tell me Sunday or let me know, I can try to rearrange the schedule. I think that's collegial. I think that's common courtesy. That's what we do in my industry where I work. We're professional people. And we don't expect people to show up 24 hours in advance unless it's an emergency. But if you're having a special meeting, such as this, it's common courtesy.
But if it's something that's happened to happen on Monday in 24 hours, I mean, I don't understand the 24 hours.
Again, it's not something that has to happen on Monday.
That's the few meetings that we call 24 hours in advance. We had to meet because.
And we're not arguing that point. We're not. We're talking about other special council meetings where it doesn't have to be the next day.
But we've only had special council meetings. We haven't had an emergency council meeting.
May I add context to help
Yes,
Councilman
please,
London?
please.
What she is referring to is when the example that was given was when I called a 5 o'clock meeting to hold the CDA interviews. I did not give, what she's saying is I did not give proper notice. So that is an example of a special meeting, not a 911 meeting. She's not saying, she's not talking about affecting a 911 meeting. She's talking about just a special council meeting where we need to handle some business before 6 o'clock. That type of meeting, ample notice is given. And the example that I'm talking about is an example that she's referring to of where ample notice was not given. And I've said my sorries on that.
It's a council ordinance meeting, and
You all want-
this is,
If you all want to allow her to say something, she can say something.
I'm
It's
good.
not dictated.
are you okay? Well, it is a council ordinance, Mayor
Said if
Stewart.
they determine they
Right.
want her to speak, she can
I hear you, but this deliberation needs to continue on. But in this case, we're going to make that allowance. We're not making it for other people, sir. I am the chair, sir. I am the chair of this ordinance committee meeting, and I'm holding this meeting, so please, let us hold the meeting.
I just wanted to say, meeting that David called was posted on March 13th, and the meeting was on March 9th.
Thank you.
And for those of us that didn't get the notice, it was posted, but we didn't get the notice. So there's a difference between posting and sending council members the notice. There's a difference. I don't have a problem with this language. I don't know why everyone, some are having this. All I'm saying, I've given you the reasons, it's there in the text. It's just common courtesy. And it helps us to remember. We are human. We will not remember at times. This helps us to remember. That's all.
What I'm saying is, you know.
Uh,
Can I speak?
yes.
This meeting, acknowledge you as the chairman of this meeting. In that example, we have more than 48 hours of notice.
Councilman London, it's either,
Let me finish.
let me respond to you, sir.
Finish my thought first, 'cause I forget. So my question, my other comment is this, is that, we have the app, so we get notified. You have the app. I guess we all have the app, right? Yes, okay. We have the app, so we do get notified. And we may not get an email, but I do get it in my, every meeting. I got this meeting in my, and there was plenty of time for us to be notified. So, in every meeting that I've got, it's been plenty of time. And every meeting in the past, since I've been on council, has been 24 hours, has been plenty of time. We don't normally get the notice 24 hours before. We normally get it 3 or 4 days before, saying the meeting's gonna be on that day. So the 24 hours doesn't say, we got a meeting on Monday, Tuesday, we get the notice on Monday. You may get the notice on Thursday saying the meeting is on Tuesday within that window. And so that's what's been happening. So if you're confused, that's happened since I've been on council. So the 24 hours, notice, that's never been an issue at any administration. You have South Board or Alexander, it's never, from a council standpoint, it's never been an issue. So I'm gonna put that out there, so make sure that's
Right.
said. So it's
And-
never been an issue. So I'm trying to figure out why now it's an issue.
Well, again, Councilman Spivey just gave an example.
I understand, but I'm
All
saying
right.
now why it's an issue.
And for those times, as I stated, we are human. We will make those mistakes. This helps us so that we won't make those mistakes. That's all it is. And you said normally, and that's right, normally. But there are times when it hasn't happened, and I've given the example, and it's why it's there to help us do better. That's all this is about,
Said 2 times, three
to
years.
help us to do better.
So you said 2 times, I think I heard 2 times, it's affected us in 3 years.
Gentlemen, go ahead, Councilman Box.
What I'd like to say, Councilman Preller, I think we've got a lot more issues to discover. It's
Yes.
obvious There's not gonna be a consensus on this one. It's your meeting, but I would suggest we move forward. We're not
Let's
gonna
move
reach
forward, please. Thank you, Councilman Box. Looking on page 3, section B. The presiding officer, the gray area that's shaded. Our legal is suggesting that we include it in a resolution. He shall state every question. And all I'm saying there, when I was a new kid on the block, Councilman Box, you were a new kid on the block. We didn't know what was to be said. I don't have a problem with putting it in a resolution, but I am thinking of future administrations who have new council members. It's helpful for them to have that so that they know how the meeting is to be held. You know, the council president will direct the clerk to call the roll and record all the votes and all of that. But I don't have a problem if the body wants to go with making that a procedure. I'm just thinking about future administrations that are newly elected members. It's been a good thing for them to have to help them to know how meetings are to be held. But I'm good with removing it either way.
If I may,
Yes.
I read this. I didn't understand it. All right. He shall, that word should probably be replaced with they, shall state every question given before the council. I need that clarified because does that mean that at this moment, while I am the chair of this meeting, that I am to repeat every question that's asked of the dais and repeat that question to the body? I don't understand that.
The two sentences above say the presiding officer of the council shall use Robert's Rules of Order. And that's what's being used there in that language.
And I agree with that, but if someone from the audience asked, is the sky blue? Am I to then turn to the council and say, the dais has been asked, is the sky blue? Obviously, that's a simple mock scenario, but as those questions become more complex, is that what you're asking?
These are the agenda items, are they not?
Yes, those are agenda items.
So,
Which you do. You do this.
okay,
You do it.
We already do.
okay. I was about to say, we already do this.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. If you're newly elected, you know what the presiding officer, this is how he does it. If you know, and you get used to it. But again, I don't have a problem if you want to put it in procedures, in a resolution. But it does help newly elected members if they have somewhere to go for meetings. But I'm good either way. If you want to go with putting it in a resolution, that's fine. How's the body? Is the body okay with putting it in a resolution?
I understand you're trying to create guardrails. I feel that we're just adding.
I didn't
so
do that.
much
Our
stuff.
legal counsel, that's currently in the ordinance, Council President Spivey. It's currently in the ordinance. Our legal counsel saying, let's take it out and let's put it in a resolution. I just stated, I'm good with that. I don't have a problem with it.
I'm fine with any of our processes that are currently in ordinance being a resolution. So I would agree with you.
Gentlemen, are you good with having this put in a resolution? Or would you like for it to remain in the ordinance?
To me, more of the body of this is concerning whether we want to appeal something. So does that make any difference, Lauren? What I'm reading is if somebody wants to appeal the vote or appeal the decision, have the revote. Isn't that more the focus of this paragraph rather than everything else in it?
No, I mean, it is just saying that the council president is the person who's supposed to be in charge of the meeting. The rest of it is all policy that y'all could alter.
Adjust, okay. I'm good with whatever you guys want to do to make our meetings more productive, more cordial, and limit the strife. That's what I'll say.
Councilman Sims?
I mean, this is exactly what we do now. I don't see the need to change it.
No one's asking that we change it. Our legal is saying that language that's in gray right now currently exists on the Muni Code.
Correct.
And they are recommending that we include it in a resolution. I've just said, that's fine, but what does the rest of the body have to say?
I thought you wanted it to remain an ordinance.
No. I just made some comments as to how it was helpful. But then I qualified that and said, but I'm fine either way.
So are we talking, we're gonna have an ordinance that says some stuff is gonna come out and be a resolution?
That's what they're recommending.
Ideally, most
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
of it's policy.
So are we good with having that resolution? That part?
And may I explain the difference? An ordinance is a law,
Right.
right? And if it's an ordinance, we have to do it. If it's a resolution, it's a best
Resolution's not
practice.
binding.
Yeah. So that's why I advocate, and I going back to my prior comment, I wish our whole process was a resolution and not an ordinance. So if you want to put anything on resolution, I'm perfectly fine with it.
Okay.
All right, so we're good with the resolution, Councilman London?
But
Okay, so we're good with putting that as a resolution legal. All right, section 2-155, attendance. If you notice there, the city clerk was taken out. I just had a comment, and that is, just so that I'm clear, you removed the city clerk because the city clerk attends all council meetings held on the first and third Tuesday of the month, and finance committee meetings, correct? Is this the reason that we removed it? Okay, very good. So that's why we removed it. Are y'all good with that removal?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so next one. The legal counsel added the red text that says by the council.
That's not, I think you added that.
I added that, okay. When specifically requested by the council, yes. When we have contract professionals, again, they don't have to attend all, but if we have a contract professional that we've got on our agenda and we would like for them to come to the meeting to ask questions, that's when we can request they come. That's the only reason I added that. When specifically requested, it's not all the time. Excuse me. We're having a meeting, Mayor Stewart. We're not going to have conversations, private conversations going on during our meeting. Mayor Stewart, if this continues, I'm going to ask that you be exit, please. I'm going to ask that you leave, sir. If you're going to continue to interrupt this ordinance committee meeting, I will ask that you please leave. Now,
I do have
going back to what we were saying,
a question.
yes,
Is that requested by one council or,
if it's one council member, if it's two council members, Councilman London, it has to do with contract professional that are coming. There may be something on the agenda, and if one council member has questions to ask of them, they should be allowed to ask for them to come forward.
so my question is, why can't I just call that contractor and not allow that contractor to come here and get all of my answers answered?
Because it doesn't say call. If you want to state specifically requested or called by the council, we can do that. But it says when specifically requested.
That one council, is that a quorum?
It says by the council. You can take that as you want. It says by the council.
So if we all don't agree with that, so you don't have to come.
If a council member has questions, I think, yes, you could, but it doesn't state call. It says specifically requested. Now, if you want to add language that says they have the option to call, we can do that.
So can I just add that language, say,
Sure.
this council just called the council?
When
called the
specifically
contractor,
requested,
have him come here?
or they may call. Is that a problem, adding that language, Ms. Brasher?
I mean, generally the council would be all acting as a body, so there would need to be a quorum.
Right. And it does state by the council, does it not? Right.
No, I just asked the question.
Okay.
Without a quorum. I
All
asked
right.
that question. Okay.
All right. So moving on to B, our legal added as they deleted the part that's shown in blue. Does anyone have any problems with having them delete that? I just saw no problems with that. Are you good with that?
You're talking about the requested attendance of said
Yes,
professional?
our legal deleted that, and I see no reason for it to remain.
My only caution with that is if we have an active project going on, we might need to hear from that contractor or that professional more frequently than once every 3 months.
Yeah, I'm good with that being.
especially in a phase like this aggressive
Right.
phase that we're in right now.
All right, so you're asking that we leave it in.
Only because of that situation I
Okay.
gave.
Then we'll leave it in.
I think, I
This
think
would
we've got
leave
it swapped.
only- If we take it out, you could ask them to come whenever.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, so you want it to be taken out.
I want to be able to, if we have questions of a contractor, we should be able to ask those questions in a public forum more often than once every 3 months.
Well,
Especially-
that's why I added the language by the council. See that first sentence? Contract professionals shall only be required to attend meetings of the council when specifically requested by the council. So if you want them to come, that's where you would call and have them come.
Fair enough.
I guess
Okay.
I'm good with this language.
Yes, Councilman
I'll have a
Boggs.
comment on that. though. Contract professionals shall only be required to attend meetings of the council when specifically requested by the council. I think the mayor deals with contracts a lot more than we do, so shouldn't, I mean, I don't recall any situations where the mayor doesn't have contractors available to answer questions for us. So if we're adding requested by the council, that's fine, but I don't think it needs to exclude the mayor not, being able to have someone he's open in contract with come here to be here for us. It's like, am I missing something there in my?
That option remains. I mean, if he wants to have someone, keep in mind that this is a council ordinance. If the mayor wants to bring someone and have them talk to the council, he's free to do it.
Okay,
This is the council ordinance.
all right.
And what Councilman Spivey is very important. He's absolutely correct. And it's why I added the language by the council, because we're deleting this part
Very good.
that follows.
I understand.
Okay.
So how are we going to get 3 council together to call these contractors? I gotta talk about something on the agenda.
Well, to me, Councilman, if I may engage. with
Yes,
that.
you may.
To me, the mayor's gonna have anybody we need to talk to here for us about contracts. If a question arises about a contract, then Councilwoman Quayler and Council President Spivey have built into this ordinance resolution, whatever the case may be, that now the council can call that contractor to ask the questions without having issues. I don't think it had to be a quorum, because we're not gonna vote on anything, but to get them to come, we would have to have a quorum, but to call and ask questions, we don't have to have a quorum. Exactly, so we
Right.
can call
I
individuals.
understand that part, but
Right.
this said, in order for him to come here.
Yeah, this is about attendance.
How
No.
are we gonna do that?
I
See-
think that's a misread,
It's a misread, sir.
Is this a misread?
yes.
This is attendance at a council meeting.
That's correct. Yes.
Understand that?
Right.
How we
Right.
gonna get 'em
So I fully believe in practice, the mayor will always have people that he's engaging in contract with. He'll have a representative here for us because he's done an excellent job of doing that so far. If there's a case where we're under a contract and there may be additional questions, then we could call personally to ask that person. But if for some reason we wanted that person or entity to come to a council meeting, then Lauren is saying it needed to be a quorum, but there's nothing preventing us from just calling and engaging individually with it. And Councilwoman McCullough, I'm sure you know, we got one.
Can we
Yes,
just add
thank you.
by the mayor or the council? And now anybody can have the professional come.
No, this is our order of business, our ordinance here. The mayor's free to do what he pleases.
This is about a council
Right,
meeting.
right, it is,
Not the
but
council.
the reason that this was added, Aaron, is because our legal counsel deleted the sentences that follow. And Council President Spivey's correct in stating, wait a minute, we may want to think twice about deleting that. And I said, you got a point, this is why I added by the council to that first sentence.
Okay.
Okay? So we'll leave that. And then our legal counsel in section B added as otherwise provided by law. We are at 6:00 and I agree with what they're stating there. We're now at 6:00 and I think what the best way that we can proceed with this ordinance is you all have the copies of the ordinance that have been sent to you. You've now got the hard copies. Please look at this. And what we can do is have a follow-up ordinance committee meeting. This way, you've come prepared, you've seen the comments, and you're ready to discuss this without having to explain everything, because you'll have a chance to look at all of the notes and comments.
Very good.
All right? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Second? Okay, Councilman Spivey seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
That's something we need to double check. 'Cause there's a lot of colors and stripes and Good evening. Thank you for your grace on that little bit of intermission as we changed from one meeting to another. I appreciate your time, and thank you for joining us this evening. Councilman Box, if you would be so kind.
Sure. You guys will stand with me, please. Father God, we want to thank you for tonight. Thank you for letting us come here to conduct the business of the city, Lord. We thank you for your guidance. Lord, we ask you to help us keep our passions in control, to look at each other as brothers and sisters and value to you, most importantly, and to value each other. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Box.
Yes, sir.
Roll call, Councilman London.
Present.
Councilwoman Cuellar.
Here.
Councilman Box. Councilman Sims.
Here.
And myself present. At this time, I'd like a movement on the minutes from the regular city council meeting of April 17th, 2024.
I only have one minor amendment to the minutes, Council President.
Yes, ma'am.
On page 2, consent agenda. I just like to ask that we change that Council Box moved instead of made. Just change the word made to moved. That the
Noted.
consent agenda.
Noted.
I'd also send a correction in. Okay.
Okay. So we have a grammatical correction. We've got a correction that's been sent in by Councilman Sims. Other than that, do we have a movement on this agenda item?
Motion to approve the minutes with the amendments by Councilman Sims and myself.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. At this time, if we could get a motion to pay the bills.
Have one question on the council expense approval report.
Yes, ma'am.
On page 4 of our council expense approval report, I only have a question on vendor 3025. The occupational license fee, it's a reimbursement. And when I looked at the paperwork on that, the individual had worked in the city of Irondale 100% of the time. And so I'm wondering, why are we refunding $1,029.68?
That was just an error in their. They closed their business in October 2023.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
With that clarification, do I have a motion?
Motion to pay the bills in amount of $1,507,291.83.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right. So I have yet to meet our new mayors for the evening. But at this time, Mayor, y'all have the floor.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As you know, the Irondale Market Center will be featuring 19 vendors that sell fresh produce, baked goods, flowers, and more. For this year's Teachers Appreciation Week, Mayor Stewart and the Irondale Community Foundation, along with the city, are sponsors for delivering hot breakfast for teachers in the public school systems of Shades Valley, JCIB, Grantswood Community, Irondale Community, and Irondale Middle School. We appreciate all the Irondale Public School System teachers for their hard work and dedication in the aptitude for education and paving the path for a brighter future. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kennedy Robinson, and today I would like to talk about the celebrity basketball game that's Thursday, May 9th this year. We're going to have it at Shades Valley High School at 1:30, and the tickets are $5 each, which will be donated to Shades Valley FBLA, which I'm in charge of, and it will be Team Mayor Stewart versus Team Counselor London. Also, I would like to talk about Mental Health Month seminar and understanding mental health As a person who suffers from mental health issues, I think it's very important to talk about this so everyone can have a clear understanding on how people struggle to live every day with these problems, as well as the problems that come with every day as life goes on. Mental illness is very common in the United States. It is estimated that more than 1 in 5 United States adults live with mental illness. This month is Mental Health Awareness Month, and on Tuesday, May 21st, 2024, there will be a lunch provided at the Irondale Civic Center from 1:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., and then this is also presented by the Behavioral Health Center. And we all hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You all can give them a hand better than that. But I had an opportunity to be able to hang out with Ashton and Kennedy today. I was very impressed when they came to City Hall. Number one, they were on time. They were 30 minutes before we were supposed to get together at 10. And we just had a fabulous time today. They had a chance to be able to shadow me to see exactly what happens in the life of a mayor. But the thing that I'm most impressed with is that they provided me with 2 ideas that we're going to put into the school system. The first one was Kennedy shared with me that she has test anxiety and that she's not the only student at Shades Valley that has this issue. They may have a high GPA, but because they suffer from having test anxiety, things don't line up and they don't get all the scholarships and things that they truly deserve. So on today, we named a new program that's going to take place at Shades Valley that hopefully will be funded by the city of Irondale. It's called the Kennedy Robinson Test Taking Fund. And we plan on supporting the schools and helping them have instructors to come in to be able to teach them how to be able to take the ACT exam and how to be able to take the SAT. And that would have never happened if she wasn't mayor for a day. An Ashton idea was that a lot of the kids didn't get an opportunity to go to the prom because it was so expensive. And they had it at the Harvard Center. And I shared with him next year, instead of having it at the Harvard Center, that they could have it at the Irondale Civic Center, and that could help with defraying the cost so that everybody gets an opportunity to attend their prom. I would have never known these things if it wasn't for these 2 people being mayor for the day. I want to let you all know it was worth it. You may not think that it's worth it. You may think that I'm taking up too much time, but the Bible says, raise up your young people, because at the end of the day, I'm close to Social Security. These young people are going to have to take care of me. And I just want you all to give them another hand for performing the way that they did. Kennedy is going to Troy University. And Dad, I hope you don't cry on your way back home. We've already talked about that. And then Ashton is going into the Navy to be an anesthesiologist.
Okay.
So those are 2 pretty bright young people. Thank you all for coming and participating. Okay, I'm going to speed through this quickly. On April the 24th, I had a chance to be able to hear the Sozo Choir from Uganda. They sung at Kirkwood by the river. On April the 30th, we had a town hall meeting in this room with over 60 people to hear about the future of the city of Irondale. If you have any questions, please send me an email. I'll be more than happy to talk to you about it. On May the 2nd, we had the 4th annual prayer breakfast here in the city of Irondale. We packed the Church of the Highlands out with over 410 individuals. Nick Saban was a very powerful speaker. Kim Scott provided excellent music. It was a wonderful event. Everybody enjoyed it. The major question that I've received is, Mayor, how are you going to outdo next year with everything that took place this year? But we had a good time. I talked about my mayors for the days there. This was also National Small Business Week. We identified 20 small businesses in the city of Irondale. And Emma, myself, and the two mayors, we delivered plaques today to Innovative, which is on Old Leeds Road, right across from Shades Valley, and also to Vivian Moore. So they got a chance to be able to do that as well. Also, I want to give a shout out to Chief McDaniel. I don't know if you all saw him on the steps of DC with other fire chiefs representing the state of Alabama. So, Chief, if you want to come out and get your kudos. And finally, I wanted to let everybody know that the UPS store opened today, but they will be having their ribbon cutting on May the 15th. My last thing for tonight, Council President, is we have a group of people that work here at the city of Irondale that seldom receives any recognition. They are stuck in a little hole in the back of the building. But if you have fallen and can't get up, you probably talked to one of them. I didn't get a chance to celebrate them during their week that they celebrate dispatchers, but I would be remiss if I did not give them the opportunity to come before you tonight. I want to let you all know that I appreciate your work. I love what you all do. And I'm going to be the most supportive mayor that you've ever had in the city of Irondale. So if you all would come to the front, and I also have a little gift for you all as well. I call them they are the unsung heroes of first responders. Someone was supposed to give a speech, right? They chose the youngest one out of them all to be able to give the speech. Did they force you to do it, Alyssa? Okay, well, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Alyssa. Her father is also Josh McDaniel.
Hi, my name is Alyssa McDaniel. I would just like to show my appreciation on behalf of the Irondale Dispatch. I would like to appreciate the Irondale community for all the support that they have given us and shown us. I would also like to thank the mayor for the leadership that he has shown us as well. And I would just like to thank the police and fire department for everything that they do behind the scenes, on the line, and everything like that. Again, I would just like to show my appreciation for the recognition that everybody has given us tonight. Thank y'all for coming.
Billy's always here when I get ready to leave at night. Judith, criticized me about my bow tie. Cliff, I never see Cliff. He wears nice shoes. Sherry. Jane. She asked the young mayors to give a 50% increase. Alyssa? Old mayors. Step down to 17. Alyssa. But not least, he's not with us today. He's been with the brother for quite some time. Served city for years and years and years, and you all are probably familiar with Tom Johnson. Now I need you all to look at the back of your certificate and tell me if you see anything on there. I couldn't give it to you all tonight because I wasn't sure that the council was going to adopt the resolution. I didn't want to be presumptuous, but because of the awesome, fantastic service that you all have provided to the city, because you are unsung heroes when it comes to being the first responders, and you all sometimes think that we don't think about you all. Each one of them will receive a gift of $500 from the city if their resolution is adopted tonight. I've done my part. Now it's left up to those 5 up there. But Council President Spivey, thank you for entertaining me as you usually do. And I would say that I am through with my reports for tonight. Let me get a picture with them and we'll get out of you all's way. Thank you all. You all can vacate. Comfortable up there. Ready to go.
Yes.
All right, Mayor, thank you very much for your report this evening. Mayors, I should say. Mayors. All right, we'll go ahead and roll into council member standing committee or special committee reports. I will go ahead and start off with Councilwoman Cuellar.
Yes, thank you, Council President Spivey. Members of the council, we have 2 gentlemen representing Raymond James, Matt Adams, and we also have Mark Hume representing, help me, it's FI Planners, right? And they have submitted RFPs. We've been working with this for a while on a laddered treasury portfolio as well as our OPEB account. And I sent you this information on April the 4th, and we agreed to have them come and be here present so that if you have any questions in regard to their proposals, they're available to answer the questions to help you in making a decision as to who you would like for the laddered treasury portfolio as well as our OPEB trust account. So at this time, I'm going to invite Matt Adams with Raymond James to come forward. I believe you should have your information with you, and you are free to ask them any questions about the laddered portfolio of U.S. Treasuries. When we sent this out, we mentioned that we had $1 million that we'd like to invest because we're currently not getting a good return on what's in our reserve account. And so this proposal has to do with taking $1 million of the city's funds and putting it in T-bills which are yielding a much better rate of return. So, Mr. Adams, if you'd please like to come forward, I'll turn it over to you and the rest of the council to ask any questions.
Kind of move this aside here. I'm sorry. Good evening, everybody. Appreciate you guys having us. I honored to be considered on this. You guys know we usually assess the city with other matters, but we do work with a lot of folks, public entities on investment of reserve funds, and so we'd be happy to work with you. Essentially, laddered treasury portfolio is kind of where you buy some shorter and some longer, and as the shorter maturities kind of roll off, you just reinvest them at the longer rate, so that you are just constantly kind of having short-term money come and due, but you have a longer-term rate. Is kind of the goal of a laddered treasury portfolio. We've done this with a lot of different folks, and we usually are pretty compliant and pretty well versed in the SAFE program with the state, which the funds would need to be invested in accordance with that law, since they are public funds, and be happy to answer any questions. Our firm manages about $1.4 trillion worth of money. We've got a subsection of our firm that just does public funds and public funds only, and so that would kind of travel under that subsection. They've done several billion of those over the last few years. So happy to answer any questions about our firm. I don't have a ton to say other than that. It's pretty simple and straightforward, but I'd be more than happy to talk with you about how this process works.
Mr. Adams, I want to thank you for submitting your proposal. And just for the benefit of everyone here, what you're proposing is using 500,000 either in increments where you're looking at 6 months, and then you can take another 500,000 and invest it in T-bills for 12 months. Is that in essence what will be taking place here?
You can really do it in any way that meets kind of the liquidity needs. So the first step would be we'd sit down with all the folks that are involved and see what, kind of when the money's needed. If it's not needed, at any point in time, maybe you go a little bit longer than that. But, normally you can do ladders that are kind of every 6 months where you have money coming due, or you could do something that's every month if you wanted to, or you could do something that's quarterly. So there's a lot of different ways to set it up, just depending on when you need the liquidity and when you need the money. But you could do, treasuries that mature on really any frequency that you need, cash flow. And so one of the things that we'll have to sit down and talk about is when you need cash flow. We put in our proposal, just as an example of how one might work, we put, if you're going to take $1 million and split it, you might do 500,000 in 6 months and 500,000 in 12 months. But not knowing kind of the liquidity needs for that money, you may want to do it on a monthly basis. You may want to do it on a quarterly basis. It doesn't really matter to us. We can structure it however you guys need it.
And one of the other features that you had was the fee would be paid by the winning bidder, so the city would not have a fee assessed. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to understand that everybody charges some sort of a fee. It's just, do you pay it out of the markup of the U.S. Treasury? In other words, does a broker dealer mark up the U.S. Treasury and then sell it to you at a price where they've got their fee kind of built into it, or do they charge an annual fee, or is there some other arrangement? The way that we normally do it is we run a competitive bid process, and so we would have maybe 8 to 10 firms bidding on the Treasury portfolio, and they would pay us the fee, but it would essentially come out of the city's earnings. So the city's not paying for something out of pocket, but the city essentially still paying for it because they're paying as they would with any broker dealer that they hire to do this work.
Right. I know this is somewhat dated. This was March 11th when you submitted your RFP. And so the yield, the estimated yield that you're showing here is 4.77.
Yeah, treasury yields have risen a bit since
Yeah.
that time, and so I actually reran it this morning somewhere in the 5 to 5.05% range, depending on, if when you want those draws, that's going to impact the yield. But if you're just looking at 500,000 in month 6 and 500,000 in month 12, you'd be somewhere above 5% today.
Okay. That's all the questions I have, gentlemen. Do you have any questions?
Councilman Boggs, any questions?
Just simply because I don't know near as much as this as all you people do. My main concern would be the security of the principal investment.
Yeah. So we're only investing under this method in U.S. Treasuries, so it's backed by the full faith and credit worthiness of the U.S. government. Now we could make some jokes about the full faith and credit worthiness of the U.S. government, right? But it is basically the safest security that we have out there. With the amount that you're talking about, $1 million, you could put it in a bank CD, but under the SAFE program, a bank would have to go collateralize that $1 million. So sometimes that drags the return down a little bit because they're having to go out and actually buy securities to enough security. They can't turn around and lend off of your $1 million. They have to pledge enough collateral into the state safe pool to be able to do it. And sometimes public funds get dragged down a little bit with that. That's not always the case. A lot of banks are competitive on their CD rates with public funds, but it's just a consideration. So, U.S. Treasuries are eligible under state law for you guys to invest in, and they're probably the safest thing that is eligible under state law for you to invest in. But again, if the U.S. government doesn't pay, we might have larger problems to deal with anyway.
Thank you. So. Thank you, Council President.
Councilman Sims?
The fee, is that for the entire amount or for every ladder rung?
Yeah, so that's basically for the year-long program.
Okay.
Yep.
Councilman London?
So on the returns, how quick do you see a turnaround on the returns?
Wait, mature.
In terms of like how quickly could we get it invested? So I mean, if you guys hired us, we could do it in a week or two. It's not really a lengthy process. Really the main thing that we have to do is just determine, as soon as somebody can tell us, hey, this is when we need the money to be liquid, then we can structure the bid and run it, in the next day or two. So a week or two is probably a generous plenty, but we could do it as quickly as you guys wanted us to, really.
Mayor, do you have any questions for the gentleman? Okay, and I have no questions myself.
I have one follow-up, and that was, I did ask you, and for the benefit of everyone here, was the account to hold the securities in. I asked you if you had anyone in particular that you worked with. You mentioned Regions Bank. That was the one that you dealt a lot with. There are some other institutions, but I did want to make that note for the benefit of the council members.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, to hold public funds under state law, you have to if you're going to hold securities in account, you have to be a qualified public custodian under the SAFE program. There's about 10 banks and 10 financial institutions that are qualified custodians under the SAFE program, and so that we would go with one of those because they would need to hold the securities and your cash as well.
Right.
With Bank of New York.
Yep, Bank of New York is one of the qualified ones on that list.
I would recommend Bank of New York because
they're
we
great.
use them for basically all of the stuff that we do with our bonds. Right now, they're holding the escrows, they pay it. It'd just be easier to set it up with them than to try to go find another bank to deal with.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Mayor, and they're on that list, and we work with them a lot too.
Okay.
No other questions?
Thank you, sir.
So good to
Thank
see
you.
everybody.
Thank
again.
you.
It's
Good
always
to see you, man.
everybody
It's been a
in our
while.
day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
They only bid, excuse me, they only submitted an RFP for the Treasury, the ladder Treasury portfolio. We had Mr. Hume and Trey Booth submit for both. the laddered treasury portfolio, and the OPEB account. Mr. Hume, if you'll kindly come forward. We'll open it up for council members to ask questions.
Good evening, everyone. How are y'all?
Good evening.
So, I believe I submitted a fairly detailed RFP describing both the OPEB account as well as the cash account. And so I won't necessarily regurgitate any of that for you. Does anyone have any immediate questions at first glance?
Councilman London?
No question.
Councilman Guerrero?
Yeah, when I was looking at the breakdown on the laddered treasury portfolio, you had minimum transaction fee of $50, correct?
That's right.
Okay. And so then what I did was then just took, let's say, 250,000, 500,000, 750,000, and $1 million, those increments. So at 250,000, if we were to invest that would be a minimum fee of $50, right?
That's right.
And when we go up to 350, we're looking at $346.50, roughly. 500K, we're looking at $495, 750K, $742.50, and $1 million, we're looking at a little under $1,000. So I just wanted to confirm that because it's 99 cents per $1,000 fee that's purchased, and that's what I calculated it to be. Those are the only questions I have. Just wanted to get that clarification.
Yeah, that's accurate. That's our broker-dealer fee.
Councilman Box?
No, that pretty much covered everything there.
Okay. Councilman Sims?
None at this time.
Okay. I do not have any questions for you at this time either, Mr. Hume. Any other things you want to say? Any parting shots or value adds?
Appreciate the opportunity to make this presentation to you all. We'll certainly have.
Well, this was just the Treasury laddered that I was asking questions. The OPEB account, I had some questions on that because there were two proposals that you submitted, and I did have some questions on that. When you're looking at, first, before I do anything, I want to thank Miss Lee Allison, for providing the information that we were needing so that you would have what you needed to submit your proposal. So thank you, Lee, really appreciate that. In looking at the OPEB account, you noted that it was subject to an annual fee and it's billed quarterly, and it's based on a percentage of the assets under management. And I noted that we're looking at about $1 million or a little bit over $1 million that we're looking at having managed. And then you also stated if one in-person annual update is requested, the fee will be 0.75%. And if you're having in-person updates every quarter, then the fee is 1% of assets each year. So based on that information, I calculated that to be $1 million under the 0.75% is about 7.5K, 7,500, and then the $1 million is 10,000. And again, that depends if it's a one in-person or if it's an in-person and you're requesting these updates every quarter. Did I get my calculations correct on that?
You did. We were just making some estimates based on how much time. We weren't certain what frequency you would like for us to appear with regular reports, or if just the paper quarterly reports would suffice. So we decided to give you sort of some guardrails, if you will, in terms of how often you wanted us to come engage with you verbally.
Okay, and if we were to do this, when would you be able to begin in setting up and opening up this account? Who would you be working through in setting up you're going to be investing, looking at your charts. Thank you for submitting all this to give us an idea. When would you begin these investments? If we were to say, we want you to start managing this, when would you be able to begin?
We could take action pretty quickly. Our custodian and broker-dealer is LPL Financial, very large publicly traded firm. So that's who clears all the transactions and holds custody of the assets. If you said we were ready to move forward, we could, as soon as we could arrange time on the phone to gather all the necessary information relative to the city to establish the OPEB account. As soon as that's received, there would be some paperwork that could be signed electronically to open that account. And then there would be a simple transfer form that would transfer the assets from the current location into the new account. And as soon as those arrive, which is typically a 2 to 3 business day turnaround, then we could execute the strategy that we presented to you.
Okay. Thank you. I have no other questions.
Councilman Box, any questions on the
No, I'm
second
good.
proposal?
Councilman covered everything.
Councilman Sims, any questions on the second proposal?
Not at the moment. Thank you for coming.
Councilman London, any questions on the second proposal?
No question.
And then Mayor, I'm remiss, I did not ask you if you had any questions on the first, but do you have a question on either proposal? From the
No,
gentleman?
I don't.
Okay,
I know Mark pretty well.
absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
you all.
Mr. Young.
Thank you all for your time.
Does that conclude your report, Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
Councilman Box, your report?
Thank you, Council President Spivey. Really, I have no report tonight. It's in the interest of time. I know we're trying to move things forward.
Copy. Councilman Sims?
Let's see. Next Tuesday, May the 14th at 6:30 at the Senior Activity Center will be the Holiday Gardens Neighborhood Association meeting. So if you're in Holiday Gardens, come on out. And other than that, that's all I have.
And my report for this evening is, once again, we have greatly appreciated trash amnesty. So thank you, Mayor, for seeing that through. And thank you for all the Public Works associates that helped pull it off. That was very, very appreciated. And thank you for consistently having that event. It's a huge help. Councilman London, do you have a report this evening?
No report.
No report? Okay. We shall move on. All right. At this time, we would take any public comments to the council on non-agenda items.
John Bavona, 1296 Shades Terrace. Last council meeting, the drilling contract for new water wells will not occur until spring of next year because it was stated contractors are too busy with other work. Contracts should be expedited and on a fast track for emergency work required for our drinking water. Should have been let requiring on-site mobilization within 90 days and let the free market of contractors respond with a price. As contractors will adjust their schedule with costs to reflect the expedited contract requirement. Can be accomplished by a simple contractual clause in the specifications for a 90-day or sooner mobilization time. I did it for my emergency working projects during my career. It is a common practice. I placed it under special clauses in the contract specs for bidders to read and then bid. So no new water wells until May 2025. Where's the urgency for safe drinking water? Only 2 or 4 wells remain online. It should be a priority even if some receive water from Birmingham. To the council, recommend you pass a resolution, cancel the existing water well contract and re-advertise with an expedited clause for immediate water well drilling. I'll help you write the expedited clause. Anything short of this puts everyone's health at risk, particularly the kids, with the uncertainty of 2 remaining water wells. Do what is right here. Re-advertise with an accelerated work requirement. Any questions?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. You get her name and address? Okay. Yes, ma'am. I'm passing it around right now. I believe the copy's been received.
Thank you. Donna Pavona, 1296 Shades Terrace, civil engineer, 12 years experience with water quality assessment. So I passed out a handout, and I had pulled that information, that handout off of the Irondale Water Department's website. And I outlined the column in question. It says that wells 5, 6, and 7, and they give you the levels. What are the current levels for 6 and 7? Is that just for 5, or is that for 5, 6, and 7?
I would have to defer to Jared on that for the specificity.
So there's nobody here that can answer that question?
That's not my field of research. I would refer to Jared, the department head over the water department.
So
Yeah,
he's the one
no,
that
they can
wrote up
ask.
the document?
I don't have that information. This is comments to the council on non-agenda items. This is not a Q&A per se. If you need to gain access to Jared to double check what this is and attain the context and who wrote it,
Okay,
by
well,
all
let me
means.
just make a statement then. If that's true, if the values of the levels that are shown here are 5, 6, and 7, we are all drinking contaminated water. Those of us who receive the water from those wells. If not, I would like to have that documented in this format, in another column, that they do not exceed the new EPA levels.
Yes, ma'am.
Council President Spivey,
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to know if, when we can get Mr. Morris, I think it's important that we know if this is just for well 5 or is it for wells 6 and 7. So I would like to know that. I know we can't do it tonight, but I would like that information because I
I would
think that's
defer to our
important.
superintendent for
Council
that.
President.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I am the,
Yes, sir.
I am the superintendent.
Absolutely.
So if anybody wants that information, they need to send that to me, not
Perfect.
to Jared.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for that
Well,
clarification.
what I'm saying is we need to know as a council.
I understand
I
it.
would
It
like,
sounds like we
us to
can.
know. Right.
Clearly who you
Okay.
need to discuss that with.
We have a path forward.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other comments on non-agenda items? Non-agenda items.
Good evening. I'm Colin Galletley, 3580 Bermuda Drive. Comments were related to the town hall meeting. I heard that we would be presented with facts. However, I heard speculation. Quote, somebody will leave this meeting tonight and put the wrong information out. We expect that. Well, Proverbs 27:1 says, do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring forth. Then, quote, will I put something out, another subject, to help people drive through the roundabout? The people in Allendale are pretty smart, do not need an instructional course about how to go around a circle. If we do need that, then we are in bad shape. Point. I have not seen the accident reports. Well, one police report about 2 weeks ago, 2 cars collided, causing damage with one of those fleeing the scene. If there were injuries, then this is a felony hit and run. That's pretty serious. They caught the person and took him in for questioning. Today, I witnessed 2 cars side by side in the 2-lane part, and they both tried to go through the 1-lane part, and they almost collided. Saturday, I witnessed someone slam on brakes right in front of me because someone ran the yield sign. There are no near misses more frequent than some people realize. Now, while the traffic circle was under construction, I spoke to the city council and I quoted the project engineering supervisor supervising the traffic circle construction. His name is George Chapman. He said, and I repeated it here, retrain our drivers, re-educate our drivers. Statements from an expert who knows more about traffic than everyone in this room put together. I asked for more information. This information to be printed in the mayor's newsletter and the city website. It might have been, but I did not see it. Then I heard that Irondale was spending $500,000 on an ad campaign for the auto mall. However, that investment would see an increase of $1.5 million in taxes. That's a 20% increase from the $8 million that was quoted. Now, that's more speculation.
Your 2 minutes is up, sir. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you very much.
Do we have any other comments on non-agenda items? All right. With no more comments on non-agenda items, we will go ahead and proceed. Do we have any reports from any boards or non-council committees? Yes, sir. Yes, sir, by all means.
Most of y'all know me. I'm Mike Davis. I'm the president of the Chamber of Commerce. I just wanted to give you all an update. It's been a few months since I was here to do this. We have a new director, Sherry Berry. She is here tonight. Sherry has a lot of nonprofit experience, and she's done a really good job stepping in. Donna resigned short notice on us, but Sherry has stepped up to the plate and moving us forward actually quicker than we actually thought she would. This Thursday's luncheon is Irondale's own Lieutenant Brasher. He will be speaking about fire safety, information for businesses, along with some other topics. I would invite everybody to come to that luncheon. I think it'll be really good. We were also a sponsor of the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. There's a misconception on social media that we were the sponsor. The Chamber of Commerce was not the sponsor of the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. We were just one of the sponsors. And we were really happy to be able to support and be there for that. We, along with the city, had a successful business event on April 15th. It was financial fitness with the Birmingham Resource Center that was really well attended. We also have had some ribbon cuttings for new Irondale businesses that are up in the Cahaba crossings. Hilltop Liquor, we had their ribbon cutting. We had one for Nail Stories. As the mayor mentioned earlier, the UPS store is open and the ribbon cutting will be on May 15th. We are actually growing membership weekly. We're here, we're back. We are a revived Chamber of Commerce. And just want to thank the city council and the city for y'all's continued support.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And welcome. Any other reports of any boards or non-council committees? Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm representing the Exchange Club. We were very active this past 2 or 3 months. We had our program of ACE Award for students in our schools. We had donated $200 to each student to do as they please with it. It's not necessarily a scholarship. Scholarships sometimes interfere with other scholarships, so we make it just as a money donation, as well as recognition of achieving something that many students aren't able to do, and that's overcoming something that was really rough in their life in order to graduate, to move forward. So we've given out about 8 of those so far, $200 a piece, and we will be doing more every year in the future. Exchange Club has been very busy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other reports of any boards or non-council committees? Okay, with no more reports, we will move on to our next item. We entered the deliberation phase of our agenda item, so we will go ahead and get started with that. Starting with the proposed consent agenda, would be resolved that Resolution 2024 R68 approves the Citizens Fire Academy as a public event. Chief McDaniel, this has your name beside it. Is there anything that you would like to say about this event? Or, I'm sorry, about the item, sorry.
It just so we could be able to provide the food like we do the citizen engagement group, for it to be on that, for us to be able to do that is why we asked to move it to a city event.
Okay. Any questions? Councilman
do.
London?
Oops, sorry.
Any questions for Chief?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
How much are we talking about to put this on? How much money?
As far as the food?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How much?
I mean, for the food, we're probably looking at $150 to $170 a meal. We have, I mean, probably less than that. I know we have on one of them, we have a few more people that are helping out, but I mean, I wouldn't see us spending more than $200 on any one meal.
Okay, and are we looking at some additional expenditures besides the food?
We do have some T-shirts that we would be providing when they finished up, certificates that we would print off. If you want all those numbers, I would have to get back.
If you would, please, get back and give me those amounts. I'd appreciate it.
Councilman Box, any questions for Chief?
No question.
Councilman Sims?
Thank you for doing this. I think it's awesome. How many citizens have you got signed up for this currently?
For this class, we're right at 10, I believe.
Excellent.
So, and we're starting Thursday night, so.
Thank you.
And Councilman Sims asked my question, so thank you for fielding it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Do we agree to leave this upon consent?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okie dokie. Item number 2, resolve the resolution 2024 R69, authorize the donation of $44,500 to Shades Valley High School for educational purposes. Mayor, there are a few items that are similar. Okay. Okay, gotcha. Looking at my sheet, not paying attention to who's leaving or who's coming or going. All right, so we will just go ahead and.
He's back.
All right, perfect.
He's back.
Hey, Mayor. We are into the meat of our consent agenda, and item number 2, item number 3, item number 4, item number 5 are very similar in nature. Is there anything that you would like to say about them individually or just as a grouping?
No, the only thing I would like to say is that this is the annual contribution that we've made to the schools for the last 3 years. And it's based on student population. We take a percentage of $100,000 and it's divided out by the population at each schools. Things really haven't changed. So we're just requesting to be able to support them at the same level that we've done over the last 2 years.
Understood. Councilman London, any questions for the mayor on any of those items? Councilwoman Cuellar, any questions for mayor on any of those items?
Just one comment. When this item was brought up last year, one request was that we have a report from each school letting us know how these funds were used. I know it states for educational purposes, but how exactly were they used? Was it for iPads? Was it for computers? Was it for books? And we were supposed to get those reports, and I haven't received any. Have y'all received any reports on how these funds were used? We were supposed to get them, because I do remember that we discussed it at the meeting, and we were told that we would get a report. And I think it's only fair to know how it was used. And I would like to see a report on how these funds were used.
Understood. Councilman Box, do you have any questions?
The only question that I would hope that some of those are being used, we addressed a few minutes ago about the test anxiety and mental health awareness. It would be nice to know if some of those are used to help counsel some of the students.
Okay. Councilman Sims, any questions?
I think this was addressed, I might have asked it last year. Each principal is the one that's getting and then deciding what to do with the funds, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Nothing has changed from what we've done over the last 2 years.
Thank you.
Do you have anything that you would like to say to answer Councilwoman Cuellar or Councilman Box question?
I have nothing that I would like to add to answer their questions at this time.
Fair enough.
I would like to ask, can we get a report from last year when these funds were given last year? Can we get a report letting us know how these funds were used?
I don't see anything I don't see anything about that being unreasonable.
Okay, so we'll get a report, right?
Yes, but I
Very
want it to
good.
be adopted tonight.
No, I'm not saying adopted. I'm just asking that
Oh,
we
yes.
get a report.
We
Very
can
good.
provide a report.
Thank you.
Do we agree to keep 2, 3, 4, 5 on consent?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Item number 6, resolution 2024 R73, authorized Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute an engineering on-call contract with Sain and Associates, Inc. For the provision of engineering services to the city of Irondale. Mayor, you're sponsoring this, so I'd be curious to see if you have anything to add. And then I know we do have Mr. Meads in the attendance with us tonight as well.
Well, I would say that I've been dealing with Sain since I was city clerk, 2012. For the last 12 years, they've done an excellent job for the city. They're always there when we need them. They have so much expertise in their firm, from civil engineering to traffic studies. They really understand traffic because they have traffic engineers over there that we can lean on when we need things. They've also helped us with an Apple study. Last year, that was over $60,000. They helped us to be able to get that to the Regional Planning Commission. I would just say that they're doing a fantastic job, and I wouldn't be recommending them for renewal if they was not doing that job.
Gotcha. Councilman London, any questions for Mayor or Mr. Meeks?
No, just ditto on saying I've been around a few terms and they've been working with us and it's very cooperative of what we're trying to do. So I want to say thank you for being a good partner to the city.
Okay.
And,
Councilwoman
and he
Guerrero.
also lives in the city, right? You live here too, right?
Councilwoman Cuellar?
I just want to thank Mr. Meeks for being here, and I also want to thank our legal team for the revisions that they recommended. Definitely or understand why you would make those. I didn't see anything else in the agreement, the contract, and I want to say also in commending you and thanking you for the work that you've done for the city. You've been doing it for several years. You really were instrumental with the road pavement plan, identifying the streets going in and letting us know. You helped us with the TAPS grant that we received. You also helped with the work that took place in Mount Lake Estates with the bridge that needed that work, as well as the Overton Crossing. So I want to thank you for what you're doing. Appreciate all your input, and I look forward to continued relationship with y'all.
Councilman Box?
No questions.
All right, Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And all I would like to say is, you get the opportunity to serve on this dais. You meet people that you may never have ever come in contact with. It has been a pleasure working with you, but knowing you. So thank you. We agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Item number 7, resolve that resolution 2024 R74 authorizes the payment of a cash award in the amount of $500 to certain city employees for recognition of such employees' exemplary performance as allowed by Alabama Code 11-40-22. This has Chief Wiggins' name beside it, but I think we have already had it presented to us. Is there any questions to Councilman London on this item?
No, you don't think you need them till you need them.
Indeed. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yeah, we only questions are what a council should ask. Do we have this budgeted, and so what's the source? It's not budgeted, okay?
Well, it is budgeted. It's budgeted because it's coming out of the general fund. So
It's a funding source.
It's a funding source.
Got it.
Yes.
So the general fund is the funding source. Very good.
Councilman
And
Box?
they're not here, but I did want to thank them for the work. And I just had a question for Chief McDaniel. Your daughter, is this the little one when you were sworn in as chief? Okay, so the little one that we saw, that's the. Okay, very good. Thank you. I was going to say, boy, did she grow fast. Thank you.
Councilman Box?
No further questions.
And Councilman Sims?
Just it's well deserved and no questions.
Comments echo that. Well deserved. Appreciate it. Had to call dispatch a couple times. It's always nice to have someone on the end of that phone that knows our first responders and knows our town. Thank you very much. We agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
All
Council
right.
President, can I
Yes,
say
sir.
one thing?
Of course.
I forgot to say this, but there are a lot of municipalities that don't have their own dispatchers.
Exactly.
They run their service through Jefferson County.
Yep.
And the city of Irondale is one of the few that still operates their own dispatch service.
Yep, and that's what I meant by my statement. I probably didn't fully articulate that, but we are very blessed to have our own dispatch. All right, moving on into the regular agenda. This, I believe, if I'm reading my code right, this is an unbudgeted item unless deemed otherwise. Regular agenda, resolve that resolution 2023 R167A amends resolution 2022 R167 to modify the purchase price of one Ford Transit van for the Irondale City Senior Activity Center to an amount not to exceed $65,155 for one van. This has Mr. Pennington's name beside it, but I see this as being very clear cut. Councilman London, do you have any questions on this?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
I believe there was when we looked at this, the amount is different. The is either the senior activity director or we have Mr. Pennington?
The amount is correct on the 65,000, but these were budgeted in 2022. There were actually two of them. This is the last one being built, and the price increase is above what was budgeted then.
Mm-hmm.
We have $58,741.30 in escrow with the leasing company for this van. The price is $65,154.99, which makes a difference of $64,1369. So all we're asking for is that $6,413.69 to make up the difference from the escrow in the budget and the lease to the payment from Cybers Forward.
Thank you.
And then the other question I asked is the documentation that we had, is this a 8-passenger, 10-passenger, what is it? 15 passenger, and it doesn't have a wheelchair lift, right? And the reason for not having it,
Because they use these vans for trips to go on, and it limits your passengers by, you lose 6 to 8 passengers by having the accessible, the ADA accessible. So they wanted more passengers to be able to go. So they would just have to have alternate transportation if they went on a trip with someone who needed a wheelchair.
okay, very good, thank you. And our source of funding, I know it's general fund, but where? Is it the senior activity?
I would defer.
Where it's coming from?
It's the general fund, and it's coming out of the general fund checking account.
Yeah, but which line item?
It's coming out of the general fund checking account. We have a
Right.
checking account for the general fund. It's coming out of that.
We do.
That line item.
And it's for the senior activity center. And even though it is the checking account, there's a line item that we need to show this to.
If it's coming out of the general fund checking account,
This is what you're saying is at the bank, right?
yes.
Okay.
And if you want me to be more specific, is the senior activity account that has over $83,000 in it.
Yes, that's what I was looking for. Thank you.
I just wanted to reiterate that I kind of said it wrong. If they have handicapped people going on their trips, they will provide alternate transportation for them. But they have so many people that they have going on these trips, they needed 30. So if they do have someone, they still will accommodate, but they'll have to rent that vehicle.
Very good. Thank you.
And Council President, can I add one thing to what Frank said about the van? He said the word lease. So I know somebody gonna go and say, there go the city leasing equipment. It's a municipal lease. It's just like how you go get a loan on your car. It's the same thing that we're doing here. So I don't want to hear that part that we leasing vehicles, because it's not a lease. It's a vehicle that we use to purchase vehicles in a municipality.
Thank you, sir. In a municipal lease, in a lease, if you went out and leased your vehicle, there's no balloon payment at the end of our payments. If you lease a piece of, say you lease a car, when you go to buy that car at the end of that lease, you've got to pay a balloon payment. With municipal lease, it's you're actually buying it. It's called a lease.
Thank you. Councilman Box, any questions for either?
Thank you.
Councilman Sims?
When do we have a date we're expected to get the vehicle?
Probably within the next 2 weeks.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, it's complete, just being
Just-
cleaned up now.
It's $6,400. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I'll revisit, Council President. Since the mayor said it is funded, or was approved earlier, can this move to consent, or since the new?
That was going to be a point of clarification I was fixing to ask. It's listed as unbudgeted under mine. We have a source of funding. Does it need to remain a resolution but run through the ordinance process?
We just put it that way because the original resolution said 58. And we're having to come back to ask for 65, even though the money is there. But because I would say run it through there so we will have proof that you all adopted a resolution for us to be able to do.
But still take it to the ordinance process?
Yes, I would say
copy.
do that for safety.
All right. That would be item number 8. Thank you, Mr. Pennington. All right, item number 9. All right, so one of the ways we restructured our meeting agenda
was oftentimes when we had a public forum, we would often get in a public hearing, we would often get into the public hearing before we would get into the deliberation. Now we're just going to go ahead and take it as it comes. So item number 9 is a public hearing. Resolve the resolution 2024 R75 fixes costs to demolition and removal of the structure located at 1004 Parish Lane, Irondale, Alabama, in the amount of $10,084.22. I need a motion to approve entering public hearing.
Make a
Motion.
motion, we leave regular council meeting and go into a public hearing.
Motion in a second.
Second.
By Councilwoman Quayle, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So at this time, is there anyone to present this agenda item? Okay. Is there anyone in favor of this agenda item? Is there anyone not in favor of this agenda item? Councilman London, any questions on this agenda item?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And myself, no questions.
Make a
That-
motion that we leave public hearing and return to regular council meeting.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Item number 10 is our second and final public hearing. Resolve the resolution 2024 R76 fixes cost of demolition and removal of the structure located at 5142 Amber Hills Road, Irondale, Alabama, in the amount of $10,061.23. Do we have any motion to enter into a public hearing?
Motion to enter public hearing.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
While in this public hearing, do we have anyone to present this agenda item? Is there anyone for this agenda item? Anyone against this agenda item? Councilman London, any questions on this agenda item?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman
No
Box?
questions.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And myself, no questions. Motion to leave public hearing.
Motion to leave public hearing.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Item number 11, resolve that resolution 2024 R77 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute an agreement with Birmingham Engineering and Construction Consultants, Inc. for construction materials, testing, and special inspections for the Irondale Public Library construction project in an amount not to exceed $39,680. Mayor Stewart, anything you want to say about this?
Only thing I have to say is for the library, Stuart Perry is getting ready to start construction. If you pass by there today, you may have seen where they've already kind of cut a road in to begin to mobilize. And we need this person on site to be able to test materials as they are doing their job.
Councilman London?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
The only comments I have is when the bidding came through for the library, I asked then how we were going to pay for it. When I was looking at our reserve accounts, general fund accounts, it didn't add up, and it's why I was asking the question, and this is a continuation of it. And I'd like to know how we're going to pay for all of this, because we've got 8.7 for the Stuart Perry, and I asked those questions because I wanted to make sure that we're going to be able to meet these obligations. I was not told how we're going to pay for this entire project. And so again, I'm asking these questions because I would like to know, how are we going to pay for this?
My feedback on your question would be, we're not talking about the entire project at this time. We're talking about this specific agenda item.
Right, but it's part of the whole project itself, is it not?
Do you have a funding source for this, Mayor?
That's why it's here. We'd have to take it out of the general fund.
Understood. Councilman Box, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
My only question would be a similar process, resolution through the ordinance process.
Yes.
Copy that. Thank you. Item number 12, resolve that resolution 2024 R78 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute a pilot system rental and service agreement with Calgon Carbon Corporation for a granular activated carbon pilot study for the Irondale water system in amount not to exceed $30,000. Mr. Morris, this has your name beside it. Would you like to introduce this item?
So this is one of the pilot studies that we will be conducting if you guys adopt it this evening, to pursue how GAC and the well water that we have kind of go together. We'll be monitoring breakthrough, how long the carbon lasts. Calgon is a leading carbon supplier within the nation, so that's one of the reasons that we chose these individuals. We're a little bit ahead of the game as far as other municipalities. They have about 6 pilot programs, and there's about 60 people that are trying to get these. So luckily, we were ahead of the game. Next council meeting, there'll be 2 additional pilot studies that will be presented, and there'll be RO to also pilot that to see again how the well water reacts with RO to see what we would need to pursue as far as filtration for PFAS.
Thank you, sir. Councilman London, any questions?
No question.
Councilwoman McQuarrie?
No questions. Thank you for your explanation.
Councilman Box?
No questions. I think that's great.
Okay. Councilman Sims?
How soon would they be able to get started?
It'd be pretty quick, probably within a month.
Excellent. Thank you.
And how quickly do you think we'd know the results or the progress?
It's a 6 month to a 14 month study, depending on how we'll test monthly. We're basically just trying to figure out when PFAS is detected. So it could be 14 months. Hopefully it's 14 months because that means the carbon will last obviously longer. If it's 6 months, then we'll reevaluate, maybe do a different carbon, because we want that to last as long as we possibly can.
Okay.
For turnover.
Understood. We look forward to the progress. Thank
you.
you, sir. Similar process on this one, remaining a resolution, going through ordinance process. Item number 13, resolve the resolution 2024 R79 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to purchase 2 Ford Explorers and 1 Chevrolet Colorado for the Irondale Police Department and to execute a 4-year lease purchase agreement with Republic First National Corporation in an amount not to exceed $32,802.12 per year. Thank you for going ahead and coming up, Chief Wiggins. Councilman Lund, or anything you want to say about this first?
I'll answer your question.
Okay. Councilman London?
No question.
Councilwoman McQuarrie?
Yeah, no, the only question I have on this is, the last council meeting we had 6 vehicles that were surplus. And I believe we've got a resolution or actually 2, for Pickens, the police department there. I certainly don't have a problem with our doing that from the surplus that we approved at our last council meeting. Will these be the vehicles that are replacing?
Let me go ahead and address all 3 kind of issues.
Yes, please. Thank you.
So when we purchased the vehicles, the original Tahoes, it took 18 months for them to get here. We had 3 vehicles that were later model 17s that we were trying to hang on to keep the cost down. We could order 9 at a time, or I'm sorry, 10 at a time. So we had an opportunity to get 2 more vehicles. This is something that was put in the budget that was passed. If you'll notice, the lease equipment went from 119 to 149, so there's $30,000 added so we can replace some of these vehicles. One of them being one for investigations. With that said, Pickensville was in dire need of some vehicles. So tonight, if this passes, we wanted to take one of the vehicles that was surplus and donate it. If it does not pass, we will donate one that has already been surplus. So one of the vehicles, we're trying to give them the best of the 2 vehicles.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's the case. In the end, we'll come back. We've got 1 more vehicle we need to purchase for investigations, but this was all in one package deal with the same bank being financed.
Right, Republic. Yes. Okay.
And 30,000 of this was approved for the budget. There was 2 options for the financing. One was 27,000 change, and one was 32,000 change. The 5-year was 27,000, and this one was 32,000, which is probably will save the money in 2 years if we do the 32,000.
All right.
I'm sorry, 4 or 5 years. 5
Okay.
if we do it for the 4 years instead of the 5.
And last one is, this is an unbudgeted. What is our source of funding here?
This is a budget. We
It's
actually had
budgeted.
budget, like I said, we had lease equipment.
Right.
119 last year. We
Right.
increased it to 149. It was approved. So 30,000 of it was approved.
Okay. Okay, so when I'm looking at this, 4 payments of 32 to start in September 2024.
Correct.
Very good. Thank you.
It was budgeted.
Thank you. Except for, yes. Okay. Thank you.
Councilman Box?
No, I'm good. From what I'm understanding, Chief, you're just replacing old vehicles. There's nothing here that's increasing fleet size or anything.
No, so we're replacing 2 vehicles that were 15 and 17. And when we first started, 17s had lower miles, but waiting 18 months for those vehicles to get in, we were having to drive some of those Tahoes 24 hours a day.
And what's the Colorado for?
I'm sorry?
The
For investigations.
Thank you. That's all.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And you've answered all of mine. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
That's all right.
We don't need to go through it, the 3-step process, do we, if it's budgeted? I mean, 2,000 is not, but,
Procedurally, because of the 2000, I would say we do.
okay.
All right. Item number 14, resolve the resolution 2024 R48, amends resolution 2024 48A, amends resolution 2024 R48, declaring a 2015 Chevrolet Tahoe from the police department as surplus and authorizing the disposal of such vehicle by Mayor James D. Stewart or his designee through donation to the Pickensville Police Department. We just heard about that. Councilman London, any follow-up questions?
And, 14 and 15 is kind of the same deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
No
And-
question.
Okay, no questions, and that comment stands for 15 as well? Councilwoman Quayer, 14 and 15?
Same.
All right,
Yes.
Councilman Box?
No questions either.
Councilman Sims?
Can we put these on consent?
Yeah, that's my.
Can we put these on consent legal?
To my knowledge, we're not passing both 14 and 15.
Correct. What it is, one of the items.
It's a one or another.
Case,
Okay.
first item not passed.
All right,
It
cool.
was already surplus. One of them was already surplus. And we would have donated it, but if we're allowed to purchase new vehicles, we will donate the better vehicle to.
So which one are we?
Which one are you advocating, Chief?
I'm not sure how it reads there, but I can tell you about the vehicle. There's about 10,000 miles difference on the vehicles. They're both 2015s. They will get all the equipment in the vehicle, all the steel equipment except for radar, radio. We'll remove iron dome from it, so they'll pretty much get the vehicle.
All we have are VIN numbers.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
That's-
the good one is the 15. Number 15 is the
Yeah.
good resolution.
Okay, so you're advocating item number 15 and the removal of item number 14.
Correct.
Okay, that being said, can 15 go on consent? Is there anything stopping that?
No.
Okay. Do we agree to remove item number 14 and add number 15 to consent?
Yes.
Yes. Well,
Oh, got it. That's right. We do need to pass we need to pass the preceding agenda item. So we'll still remove 14 and we'll keep 15 on the regular agenda.
Very
Thank you. Sometimes we get a little go time. All right. Item number 16, resolve the resolution 2024 R81 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute an agreement with Spectrum Environmental, Inc. for environmental services for the Irondale Fire Station construction project in an amount not to exceed $4,650. Mayor James D. Stewart, anything you would like to say about this?
No, I don't have anything to say about it other than we need an engineering company to come out to be able to check because we're not trying to hook up to sewer. We're trying to do septic tank for the fire station.
Okay. Councilman London, any questions?
No question.
Councilwoman Quayer?
just some comments on the fire station. I'm glad that we are doing this. That is a station that is necessary. It does service, it will service the residents around the Roebuck area. All of those areas will enable them to do a lot more. And this is one that I would consider to be an essential need. And I'm glad that we're doing this because we definitely do need to have our emergency response times to be quick so that if they have a need, they have those needs met. Those are my comments.
Councilman Box?
No questions.
All right, Councilman Sims.
No questions.
And no questions myself. I do believe that needs to go through remaining a resolution, but ordinance process.
Yes.
Okay. And then following item number 17, extremely similar in nature, resolve the resolution 2024 R82 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute an agreement with Engineers of the South LLC for septic system review and design for the Irondale Fire Station construction project in an amount not to exceed $10,750. I'm going to say probably similar comments from 16, or is there anything new that anybody would like to add in regards to comments on 17?
No.
We're all good?
No comment.
Okay. Same thing, remaining a resolution, ordinance process. Item number 18, resolve that resolution 2024 R53 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute an agreement with Truist Bank for an ATM to be located at the Irondale Civic Center. That also being said, we have to make a decision similar to 14 and 15. We have item number 19, resolve the resolution 2024 R83 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart or his designee to execute an agreement with FebCorp for an ATM to be located at the Irondale Civic Center. We've got Doss's name by this. We also have Cuellar's name by this. So I do not know, Councilwoman Cuellar, if you want to introduce this. I don't know if Mr. Doss is here with us tonight. We have competing resolutions on the books, so whoever would like to walk us through those.
Yeah, what I'll mention here is when this came before the council, I believe it came in January, and then we also had it come back at our last council meeting. And what I was stating when the agreement from Truist came through was that in working with these in my previous banking career, there are opportunities for the Civic Center to generate some revenue for the city. And so I did contact FedCorp and asked them if they would be interested and if they would submit an ATM agreement. And we do have it, and it will generate $1 per transaction for the city. And the Truist does not generate any revenue. And it's for that reason that I asked that we look at some other agreements for those opportunities for the city. And so this is the difference between this agreement with FedCorp versus the agreement with Truist. That's your primary difference.
Councilman London, any questions for Councilwoman Cuellar?
No question, but my only comment is that, we do all of our banking through Truist Bank, and I have no idea who FedCorp is, and I know $1 transaction, I don't know how much that per day would cost, what that would result in. But we do all our banking through Truist, and I would just like to stay with who we do our banking with.
Councilman Box, any questions for Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions. It's a minuscule amount of income. Any income's good income, but we'll just see what happens.
Councilman Sims, any questions for Councilwoman Cuellar?
Just the only two things I noticed different is, unless I missed it in the Truist one, if there's less than 50 transactions a month, they can come grab their ATM, FedCorp.
Right, they would monitor it.
And I didn't see that in the other one.
And they would have to be, this would have to be ongoing. And so that would be the difference. But what we need to do is educate everybody on this. If it's a Truist ATM, not everybody banks at Truist, okay? These are electronic fund transactions that take place. So it doesn't matter where you bank at. It doesn't matter if the city has all its money at Truist Bank. These are people that are attending events at the city, Irondale Civic Center, and they may have a need for an ATM. They would use their ATM card no matter, who they bank with. But what it would do was generate some revenue for the city. That is what this is about. It doesn't matter who you bank with.
Well, personally, I think it does matter who you bank with.
It was. Do you have any other questions, Councilman Sims?
No.
I do not have any questions. Mr. Doss, do you have any updates?
Council President?
Yes,
Can I
sir.
just say one thing?
Yes, sir.
What I wanted to say, number one, is we don't even know who this company is. Matter of fact, the representative didn't even show up to come to be able to present it, and we don't know who it is. And then, is it really worth us getting $50 a month
Respond for that.
to multiply by 12, which is $600 to be able to deal with something or deal with somebody that we really have never dealt with before?
If I can respond to that,
One moment.
please.
Are you finished with your comments on that particular item?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I have
Is there
few-
any other items that you would like to, any other comments on this particular agenda item?
Well, I just hate to keep getting interrupted. It messed my thought pattern up, so I have to start out all over again.
Okay.
But I'm going to defer, and I'm going to let Bradley talk about it because he knows more about it. But to me, it doesn't make sense. We're talking about $600 dealing with somebody that we don't know, which will come remove theirs after 50, if we don't get 50 transactions. And I'm quite sure there's some more cost to installation, upkeep. They are not just bringing their machine out there and putting it out there and going to give us the money and don't charge anything at the same time.
Do you see a cost in this?
Can I
agreement?
get
Ma'am,
through
please.
with
No.
my comments?
Please, ma'am, please. Mayor has the floor. He's been allotted time for his comments.
Thank you. I
Well,
appreciate it.
if I may
Mayor has
add,
been
we're
allotted his
allowed
time
4
for his
minutes as
comments.
council members. We're allowed 4
Mayor
minutes.
has, I understand that. and We
All
have
right,
not hit
same
the
rule
4
applies
minutes.
here.
I'm very aware of the rules that we set forth in the last council meeting. Mayor has not finished his comments. If he exceeds his time, it's only because he's been interrupted and had to restart his comments. So if anything, I should parliamentary give him additional time because of his interruptions. Please,
Well,
sir.
I've just said what I have to say, and at the end of the day, it's not worth $600 when you're dealing with 37 million.
Thank you. Does that conclude your comments, Mayor?
That concludes my
Outstanding.
comments.
Before we come back around for a second deliberation on this, Mr. Doss, is there anything you would like to say about the Truist? Has the contract changed in any way, or is it as it was presented? Anything that you want to say to us about the Truist contract?
Nothing's changed with the contract. I did get clarification that, from the vendor that, they will only charge outside banking customers a small fee. And, that's, you know, they won't charge the Truist, customers, but they may charge the outside customers.
Understood. Thank you.
And the city won't get a portion.
I understand. Councilman London, any questions for Mr. Doss?
Well, that's any teller that you use.
Yes, sir.
outside, I mean, that's what everybody does.
Councilwoman Cuellar, any additional questions for Mr. Doss?
Yes, saying that you don't know anything about the company. They're based out of Alabama. They have several clients, several banks in Mississippi and in Florida. So they're not someone that's unknown. Service First is one of their big clients. Renaissance Bank is another. Community Bank, the First. Alabama State Employees Credit Union is another client. Exchange Bank, Auburn Federal Credit Union, First U.S. Bank. There are several banks. So they're not someone that doesn't know what they're doing. If you would have gone to their website, you would have learned that they are a reputable organization. It's not just somebody setting up on some street corner, but they do this for several banks.
Fair enough. Councilman Box, any questions for Mr. Doss?
Not for Mr. Doss, no.
Any questions about the other agenda item?
In general, I would just say that I was in favor of it for generating a little income, but when Councilman Sim, who evidently read a little further than I did, that it can be removed, I don't know that we'll have 50 transactions a month, so I don't know what the longevity of this program will be unless Fed Corp could modify their proposal. So.
Understood. Councilman Sims, any other questions about either one of these?
No.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you very much, Mr. Doss. We can do like we did with 14 and 15. We can go ahead and pick a winning resolution at this time, or we can let the body play out. What say you, Councilman Linden?
Let's play it out.
Councilman Cuellar, play it out?
Yeah, we can play it out, but I do want some clarification, and that is that just if it doesn't generate 50 transactions in 1 month, doesn't mean that they're going to come and take it. This is over a time frame.
I understand.
So it's not just that 1 month.
I understand. So I've got two that are saying let the two resolutions compete. Councilman Box, you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, Councilman Sims?
Yes.
Okay, got it. So when the time comes, one will win the day. Moving on from 18 to 19 on to 20. Resolved that Resolution 2024 R84 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to make payments in the amount of $30,491.60 to Massey Asphalt Paving following the completion and inspection by the City Buildings Inspections Department to the work done on Old Leeds Road. Mayor Stewart, any comments on this?
I would just like to give everybody the context of why we are voting for this resolution. About several months ago, Mr. Moran, that's sitting there, he's the operational person for EWTN, and Jerry South came and had a conversation with me that they needed to do some paving on Old Leeds Road, and they wanted to know if the city would participate and to help them out with this project. And because we're always looking to be good neighbors, I didn't hesitate to tell him that I assume that the city would adopt a resolution to allow us to be able to pay a fair share of what the cost would be. They're asking us to pay $30,000 would be our portion, and you all's portion would be how much? So their portion would be 70. But because EWTN is such an asset to the city, we wanted to be good neighbors, and that's why we have this on here to be able to share in the cost, to let them know that we all partner together. And that road belongs to the city, and anything that we can help them to facilitate getting it done, that's why we want to be able to provide the amount that's on the resolution tonight.
Thank you, sir. Councilman London, any questions for Mayor or the representative?
No, thank you for coming, but no question.
Okay. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Only comment I have is I'm going to recuse myself from the vote and deliberation. I'm an employee at EWTN, and it's why I'm recusing myself.
Fair enough. Councilman Box?
No further questions.
Okay. Councilman Sims?
No questions.
Okay. Legal, no questions for myself. Thank you for joining this evening. Abstaining, because this is going to be a resolution that's going to go through the ordinance process. Obviously, we're going to have to, we would typically look for unanimous consent. Is an abstention during this second round going to hinder this passage this evening?
Is an abstention necessary? I mean, it benefits, it's a public road. It benefits everyone equally.
Yes,
Right.
and I could say that you could vote, it does benefit everyone equally, you would not have to abstain unless you wanted to, and you could always vote on the first two and then abstain from the third one.
Right, that's what I intended to do.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, thank you very much. All right. Let's see here. It's item number 20. Item number 21, resolve that resolution 2024 R85 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute an agreement with Star Ridge Landfill, a waste management company, for landfill disposal services at a rate of $38.85 per ton, plus a $1 per ton ATM fee. Mr. Pennington, would you mind? Tell us a little bit about this and methodology.
This is a contract that's been here before last, out of Waste Management up in Moody. Last year, we had an increase of 5.4% on just a CPI increase. I received a letter a month ago stating that they were going to go up, dramatically, cover their costs. So I called Mike Mitchell, who is the representative for Waste Management. And he told me that that letter went out by mistake, that he would look into our account and he would adjust it accordingly. Last year, we paid 5.4% CPI increase. This year, it's 5.3. Our current rate is $36.89 per ton plus the $1 fee. The rate will go up $1.96 per ton. We average about 500 tons a month. That's about $1,000 extra month, $12,000 a year increase. We are restricted on the landfills that we can use when we bid. The last bid we had, there was a nickel difference in the prices on the garbage bid. If you know anything about landfills, it's just watch the news and you'll know a lot about them. This increase is going to come every May, so I mean we might as well expect it. And if we rebid it, we're liable to go and pay a couple more dollars more than what the bid is. Maybe we make a few cents, but the biggest issue that we had in rebidding is if we end up having to go, we go to Moody now, with our current services, we can make that trip and provide our services in one day. If we have to go across town to Mount Olive, or we have to go to Dora, if one of those landfill wins the bid, then we're gonna be caught in traffic, and our trucks are gonna be stuck out there, because we go to the landfill, we run 3 trucks to the landfill per day in the middle of the day. So we'll be stuck without being able to possibly pick up garbage completed in one day. And I've been here 22 years. We have never in the city of Irondale missed a day of garbage that we didn't complete service.
Any questions, Councilman Linden?
No question. You just answered it. Yeah.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions. Thank you.
Councilman Box?
So I assume from your comments there, then the Think Pink over off of Republic or Colberg Road, which is comparable in distance, but is not one of our approved.
Well, no, and it's also the I-65 interchange that we have to go through there.
I see.
I drive home that way every day. And today I may go home and make it 30 minutes. Tomorrow, take me an hour and 45 minutes to get home. That's one way. Our trucks have to go out there and come back, and they can't maneuver like we can be.
Right. Very good. Thank you, Pam.
Councilman Sims?
Fuel cost also would be enormous going further. I just, one question. Can you remind me what the recycling per ton is?
$65 a ton.
Okay. Thank you.
My only comment would say thank you, and I hold on to that last sentence that you said. We have never missed a garbage pickup, and I just want that to resonate, because as we've been going through the pandemic and things of that nature, so many companies that facilitate those services, people got left, and I just want to thank you and your department for doing the job and just getting it done. Thank you. Thank you very much. Item number 21, resolution, ordinance process. Item number 22, ordain that ordinance 2024-06 amends Chapter 5 Business Regulations, Article 8, Occupational License Fees, Section 5-242 to decrease the city's occupational license fee from 0.75 to 0.5. Councilwoman Cuellar, this has your name on it.
Yes, thank you so much, Council President Spivey. I move forward with this reduction in the occupational license fee because during our council deliberations on reducing the occupational license fee to 0.50% at our council meeting held this past January the 23rd, Mayor Stewart stated that the surplus amount of $5.3 million that I mentioned was an unaudited amount, and we should wait on reducing the fee. Reducing the fee to 0.50% after we had the audited surplus amount. Well, the time has come. The city's audit was completed last month, and the audited surplus amount is $5.08 million. Therefore, we need to follow through on lowering the occupational license fee. Not doing so taints and darkens our credibility, our sincerity, our integrity, our truthfulness, and our trustworthiness. I received a number of phone calls from business community members and employees who are employed in businesses and schools here in Irondale, requesting that we lower the fee as we promised. And several of the employees who contacted me stated that they are living paycheck to paycheck and having to put their groceries on credit card to feed their families, something they've never done before. Others are traveling to several grocery stores that accept coupons and have food items on sale. And I've given you this article that came out in the Wall Street Journal. It came out on April 27th of 2024. It was in the business section of the Wall Street Journal. If you look on the back, I've highlighted sections that says a new normal. Grocery prices are up 21% in 3 years. Grocery shoppers are making 8% more trips than they did last year. And if you go down to shopping sales, roughly 2/3 said they now lean heavily on in-store coupons before or during their shopping trips, compared with the 33% who said they used them in 2021. Going further down, I've highlighted, we guess how much money mommy can save. And this woman says, the other day I saved $60, and we were like screaming. In the next paragraph, you have 34-year-old Ashley McGarry, who works at an energy infrastructure company, and she says she goes to one of a few local stores almost every other day to take advantage of as many discounts as possible. So this is not an isolated event. This is going on all over, ladies and gentlemen. And the city has had surpluses since the implementation of the occupational license fee. The surpluses were not large for the first 2 years, but they have been over the last 4 years, which has enabled us to service our long-term debt. And as of April 30th of 2024, the balance in our general and reserve funds totaled $14.3 million. And our general fund budget for fiscal year 2024 is projected to have a surplus of $4.2 million. This ordinance will have the lowering of the license fee take effect on August the 1st of 2024, 1 month before the end of the fiscal year 2024. What difference will this make for all who are employed in Irondale? If you look at our budget report as of 4/30/2024, the occupational license fee generated $315,141 in 1 month. Multiply this amount by the 0.50%, that comes out to $15,757, an amount kept by those employed in Irondale that will enable them to have a slight increase in their paycheck for their family needs. Moreover, peace of mind, knowing that the men and women of the council are people of their word. And concerning peace of mind, a number of developers interested in coming to Irondale
Thank you for your
are
comment.
troubled. I am introducing this. I have to have the time I need to introduce it. This is not a deliberation. I'm
That was
introducing
not
this proposal.
specified in the ordinance when it was passed that an introducing sponsor had additional time.
We allow several to go on, and I just have one more minute to finish.
Finish
I asked
it.
for one more minute.
I'm still lost on your
Concerning
context.
peace of mind, a number of developers interested in coming to Irondale are troubled, being faced with employees unwilling to work in Irondale because of the occupational license fee. This is not good for Irondale. I say this because this is what several restaurant owners and franchisees have told me when I have contacted them and invited them to come to Irondale. The Publix developers face similar challenges in selling the 1.5-acre out parcel at Cahaba Crossing, the newly built retail development. Additionally, with help wanted signs everywhere, we give men and women, because of our occupational license fee, a reason to apply elsewhere rather than here in Irondale. Here again, this is not good for Irondale. When the occupational license fee was passed, it was done with a promise that it was a temporary measure to save the city from financial ruin, which benefits no one in Irondale. To the great relief of all who do business here, we have achieved our goal. Now, all that remains is keeping the commitment to reduce and eventually repeal it once the goal was achieved. May this council, to its great credit, and mindful of the sacrifices people are making, keep this commitment to continue lowering and eventually repealing the occupational license fee by voting for this ordinance.
Thank you. Councilman Box, any questions for Councilwoman Cuellar?
Councilwoman Quiller, how much money again did you say would be returned to the citizens?
This comes out to $15,757. It will increase their paychecks because it's August 1st, Councilman Box.
$15,000. And Mayor, do you know, or does anyone know how many employees are in the city of Irondale?
It's very hard for us to be able to calculate how many employees are here. When it was first enacted, I mean, I hope you all will be quiet
Silence on
out
the
in
floor,
the audience.
please. Let's
I mean,
work
if you got to
through
keep
this.
on talking, if you don't want to hear me, you can always depart. But as I was rudely interrupted from the audience, we have no way of being able to determine the amount of employees. I did do a town hall meeting that talked about if we reduced it by a quarter of a percentage point, that we would be returning to the employees over $1 million. And I'm just going off of the total. I'm not going to speak to this a lot because we beat a dead horse. And the only thing that I'm going to say is this. When I did the state of the city, I said we would adopt the ordinance in July, and that ordinance would go into effect in FY25 October. I still stand by what I said. I said it at the state of the city. I said it when I did the town hall meeting. And I stand on that same statement today.
So then my final question, Council President Spivey, would be, if we pass this tonight, Mayor, it would enable you to go ahead and continue to move forward with getting the budgets prepared by the end of August for us, but with the numbers without the, or with the proposed decrease.
Well, first of all, we included this in the budget.
Thank you.
Because we're going through the fiscal year. So why would we not include over $600,000 in the budget? Because the whole context of the budget is that we would do it in FY25, not to do it in August of 24. Secondly, we were never consulted to know how long it's going to take everybody's system to get automated to pull it off in the first place, which you can't do this in 60 days.
Okay. So am I understanding you to say that it would be better to postpone?
That's why I said we would adopt the ordinance in July. We would then begin the reduction in FY25. That gives us a whole fiscal year not to have these resources instead of cutting them off 10 months into the year, and you got those built into your budget.
So FY25 would start in October.
October 1.
Of 24. We're looking at 2 more months before we actually then go ahead and move forward to reduce it.
Exactly, because I mean, do you all recommend that we take $600,000 out of the budget?
It's not.
I mean, since we all, everybody want to be good budgeting folks, that doesn't sound very sound to me to cut something off in August when, what's the problem of waiting to October of FY25?
Thank you, Mayor. No further questions.
Councilman Sims?
I guess my only concern or question would be, does removing this impact going to get bonds and stuff like that?
Glad you asked that.
No.
Also, it's not a good time to be reducing revenue when you're planning on going to New York to ask for funding for capital projects.
That's the other reason
why I asked that we wait until July.
We're going to come back around for a second round of deliberation. I'm hearing a lot of chatter, trying to pay attention to my peers. Please. Second round. Councilman London. You're good where you stand? Okay. Councilwoman Quayle, do you have any remaining
I
remarks?
do, because there have been comments that have made. We're talking about people's livelihoods. That's point number one. Number two, we're not talking about $600,000. We're talking about a reduction here of $15,000 per month. There are only 2 months. That is not going to impact your revenue, your bonds, and all of this where you're going to New York. It is not going to do that. The third thing that I want to note is that when the ordinance, the occupational license fee was implemented, it was implemented in May. On May 29th of 2018. It was not effective until August. There is no difference here, ladies and gentlemen of the council. So it can be done. It was done in 2018. There is no reason why we should not reduce the occupational license fee by 0.025. There is no reason to do that. I just gave you an article in the Wall Street Journal. I just noted I've got people that are calling me. They are struggling. And it's time that we extend some compassion and stop these games. We're talking about livelihoods, and there is no reason why we can't reduce it now. None of the excuses that have been made, the arguments that have been made, fit. They don't. We did it in May, implementing it. There's no reason that we can't do it now. It won't be effective in August. It was effective in August in 2018. and it's not going to impact our revenue over the 2 months. I've just given you the amounts that it would reduce it. That's it.
Second round, Councilman Box.
I guess I'm confused. It's not gonna affect our revenue in May, then how's it gonna affect the citizens in May?
It will not affect the citizens until August the 1st of 2024. That's when the reduction is implemented. This passes it to enable it to be implemented in August 1st of 2024 because the payroll processors need time to get it done. It happened in May of 2018. It gave the payroll processors time to implement the occupational license fee.
Procedurally, you are on Councilman Box's time. I believe he
He
would like
asked
to
the
resume that.
question.
I understand that.
Quick answer. So I guess I'm coming back to the fact of that to give more time and to make our budgeting for fiscal year 2025 more accurate, 2-month delay is not a big issue. It's
no
not
heart.
that big of a benefit to citizens, and it's not that big of
You didn't read the
a
article.
detriment to the city. So I don't see why we couldn't wait the 60 days, have our budget ready by the end of August, and then have this going into effect immediately on October the 1st. That gives I don't know if we can declare that to the citizenry and to the business world now, but that effective October the 1st, they need to be ready to have their systems in their payroll departments ready to handle the decrease. That gives them 4 months to get ready, more than ample time.
Councilman Sims, anything on a second round?
Okay, I support reducing it. I just want to make sure that we're past anything we need to get past as far as getting bonds and stuff before we start messing with the city's finances. I mean, the second everyone comes back from New York and says we're good, I'm okay to put it on the agenda, but I just hesitate to jump the gun.
My comments echo Box and Sims. I would say one of my biggest comments would be from a procedural standpoint. We've talked about this a lot. We've never taken any action on it. And what I mean by that is it gets everyone in the community stirred up for an item that does not have the proper support. I was always groomed when I was talking about putting something on an agenda that concept should be discussed and the potential for support should be there so that if it's not there, then we don't get everyone riled up about something that may or may not happen. So I would just, that's a best practice as far as that's concerned, and that's all I'm going to say about that. All right, we have done our deliberations on our items. And then that being an ordinance, it would obviously go through the ordinance process. All right. So what I'm looking for at this time is an approval of the form of the agenda.
Make a motion, we approve the form of the agenda.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now that we have an agenda, we would take any public comments on agenda items only, the items that we have been deliberating.
All right, John, move on. Mine's on R78. It's a positive step, the activated carbon pilot study. But in order to have a pilot study, you have to have baselines. And if you have a baseline, you know the forever chemical levels in the 2 online wells. Common sense. I don't have to be an engineer to recite that. So I think it's imperative that that be published ASAP, because if the chemicals PFOS, PFOA are below 4.4 parts per trillion, that's good news. If it's above 4 parts per trillion, it's bad news. I think the public deserves to know. You already heard me speak about the accelerated contract. I don't know if you're going to heed that or not. But if I had kids in school, I'd want to know tonight before I walked out if they're drinking water that's above the recently elevated EPA limits. We don't know that. Certainly, you're going to know it if you're doing a baseline study.
Thanks, sir. Any other comments on agenda items only?
Bubba Bates, 1812 6th Avenue South, Irondale. I wanted to talk about the occupational tax. We got audited financial report. I looked at it. The city's making money hand over fist. There was a $5 million surplus. They have $12.7 million in reserves. Council President Spivey, in May of 2018, I was here and I helped you calculate stuff. Y'all did implemented the occupational tax. You said it was a temporary tax, and once the city gets back on its feet, we're going to get rid of it. The city's doing really well, and I mean, it's been 6 years. It was May 18. I mean, you've had 6 years to work on it. Mayor Stewart, you campaigned 4 years ago on lowering the occupational tax to 0.5%. Here we are 4 years later, and it's 0.75%. You went on an interview with Stephen Strickland. I watched it on the radio, and you said you were going to lower the occupational tax to 0.5%, and eventually you're going to eliminate it and or eradicate it. He asked you, is it a deterrent to businesses? And you said, no, it doesn't affect businesses. It comes out of the pockets of the employees. And now you're telling us to wait until the beginning of the year. You know, how can we believe you? I mean, you said that 4 years ago. I don't believe you. Your word's not any good. You know it, I know it, and everybody else here knows it.
Do we have any other comments on agenda items? Yes, sir.
Same subject, and I won't say I agree with everything that was just said. I agree wholeheartedly with the passing the ordinance. It will benefit, I mean, when we're spending someone else's money and or holding it back, not allowing them to spend it. I mean, who is to say how much money is a savings, whether it's $1 per transaction, going to a different subject. But to me, we should not, we should let these people who need this money, as was described earlier, spend it. I would venture to say most everyone who is in the fast food industry, the ones that we see, the ones that are back there as cooks, they probably make less than just about everyone up here in this area. That's all I have to say. Vote in favor of 22.
Any comments to the council on agenda items only?
My name is Sergey Kilich. I live at 1319 Marion Drive. I recently bought a house here in Irondale last year, so I'm a new resident. And going through the process, my realtor and my mortgage broker told me, don't take out any new lines of credit. And so if I did, I was under the assumption, and they told me that it would affect my ability to buy a house. It sounds like we're trying to take out lines of credit. If you already have $600,000 in the budget, I know Councilwoman Kular said it wouldn't affect our proposal to New York. However, I think she knows and everyone else here knows that's false. You do not just account for $600,000 in a budget and suddenly just take it out. So Mayor, I want to thank you for your hard work in Irondale, and I'm very proud to live here. Thank you.
Any more comments on agenda items? Yes, ma'am. Just for the people that might be listening, just to make sure we can all hear you. I understand, but I appreciate you.
My name is Gretchen Thiel, and I live at 2205 2nd Avenue North, apartment B. And I'm wondering about the ATM machines. Are they a standard size? Do they have a footprint? If they put one in and removed it, would it take a contractor to repair where they were? Are they all the same size?
That's going to be a question as far as we see which one wins the day, and then we
Okay.
can talk specifics about that at
Okay.
a later time.
Because if the other one would be removed, it would be.
Understood. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Just a question. I understand that on that item, as far as the.
Did you provide your name and address to the clerk?
Fisher Jim Lowe.
Thank you, sir.
3536 Bermuda Drive.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, question. You're talking about a couple of months. Is this what this is? Could I ask the council?
In regards to the occupational
Yes.
tax,
Yes.
the fee, yes,
Yeah,
we're talking about a
within
few
the
months.
2 months, we're talking about being early. How many early would we be?
2 months.
2 months, and it's $15,000 per
That's
month.
all.
You talk about $30,000 for
That's
2
right.
months to affect the, and that 30,000 would actually go back into the pockets of the employees.
Yes.
that are here. And we have an economy with an inflation rate and government taking more and more. And so the bottom line is that we be putting that back into employees. Don't we have businesses that are having problems getting employees? And don't we have businesses that have a lot? Just asking a question.
Yeah. No, and you're absolutely right, sir. And it is not 600,000 as has been erroneously stated. It is
Thank you for your
30,000.
comments,
That's all it
Councilwoman
is.
Cuellar.
And I
These are
also need to
comments
ask,
to the
when are we
council.
going to New York? We are not going to New York in August. When are we going to New York? We're not going to New York in
Councilwoman
August.
Cuellar.
30,000, that's all the question.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Is that incorrect?
We are done with this.
I'll talk to you after.
Thank you.
I'll
Please
talk to you
speak
after.
offline about this.
No,
Thank
I
you.
mean, you made it public. I'll
Thank
talk
you.
to you after that.
Any other comments on agenda items only? Yes, ma'am, please.
I'm sorry to beat this horse to death. But I brought a book. Taxes Have Consequences. It's a great book. Have you read it? Written in 2022 by Dr. Laffer. What you'll find in Taxes Have Consequences is very revealing. What's documented is when taxes are lower, it actually improves worker motivation. It improves productivity. Businesses become more successful. The local economy gets increased revenue. So I'm not worried about the revenue for the city. It's documented. Lower the taxes, the local economy will improve. I'll be happy to loan book them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Pike,
First of all, I want to say that the cost for the beginning of the Irondale Fire Station, number 3, is a win-win for everyone. It is a win-win for our firemen because they're going to have a wonderful new fire station to rest and have fellowship with their fellow firemen in a decent place that they do not have now. So I want to thank Chief McDaniel for facilitating that. But when it says, "Oh, will benefit the community," absolutely. But it benefits so much more, so many more that are never mentioned. Another thing is, I'm not sure about the bus or the van for the senior citizens. The van is a 15-passenger. From the pictures that I've seen, they had a bus load of ladies going somewhere. Now, of course, I know this was way back when, but you used to buy a school bus for $65,000. So I'm not sure that this van is going to accommodate all the ladies that might like to go somewhere. So I don't know if a bigger vehicle has been talked about or the price looked at, but I think just my opinion, I think you're starting out too little. I just don't think that that's going to be accommodating for everybody that might like to go somewhere that won't have any other way to go.
Thank you, ma'am.
And another thing,
Your 2 minutes have surpassed.
well, I have to say one thing about the occupation.
I have to
tax.
keep this procedurally. I'm trying really hard to keep this procedurally. Thank you. Any other comments on agenda items? Yes, sir.
Sandy Loriello, 5732 Belridge Trail. I don't think this community cares about the people anymore. This occupational tax has got to be lowered. If you're building this, all these different buildings, all these different projects, that the people need to come first. We don't need all these buildings, this new building, that new building. We need to take care of the people, and people are struggling. They're hurting. I mean, it's sad. And I help a lot of people. They don't have anything in their refrigerators. So let's keep taxing them. It's getting to the point of insanity. Help our people out. And it doesn't seem like you are.
Any other comments on agenda items only?
Shades Terrace. My question is, all the construction workers that are going to be doing all these projects within the city, are you going to be collecting the occupational tax from them?
The occupational fee applies to anyone that is working inside the city borders.
So you're going to collect?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Any other questions on agenda items only? Yes, sir. This gentleman has lifted his hand about 3 times. Come on up, sir. Let's go ahead and do this.
Chubba Vedlik, 5725 Belmont Drive. And I'd like to rise in favor of Councilwoman Quaylar's ordinance to lower the occupational license fee. In light of the audit that was recently done, we do have the necessary funds to service our debts. And this promise was made in 2018. And it's always a good policy, I think. I've been around a number of years, worked in Washington too, for politicians to keep their promises. You know, we have to mean what we say and say what we mean. So if we made a promise, we're going to lower it. We can do it now in light of the audit. Let's do it because people are in need. Inflation keeps going up. Price at the fuel pump keeps going up. Need relief. Thank you very much.
I believe we had one more person show interest, sir, in the back.
My name is Noah Lett. I live at 1721 Whitmire Street. And I'm rising in favor of the occupational tax being lowered. I think the issue here that you have to consider is the city can service our debt. And that's why we have it. If we can service our debt, then we need to get rid of it. It's that simple. Keep your promise. Thank you.
Before we move on to passage, any other comments on agenda items only? Okay. Without any additional questions, I would look for passage of the consent agenda.
Make a motion, we pass the consent agenda with items 1 through 7.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Moving on into the regular agenda. If we could go through once again, resolution, remaining a resolution, but ordinance process, please.
Make motion that resolution 2022 R167A be considered read.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we suspend all the rules that would prevent the immediate consideration. Resolution 2022 R167A.
Second.
Motion second, roll call. Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes.
Make a motion that Resolution 2022 R167A be approved and adopted.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item number 9 was our public hearing. We just need to treat this like a resolution, if I can get some movement there.
Make a motion that Resolution 2024 R75 be approved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Make a motion, resolution 2024 R76 be approved.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, on to item number 11, once again remaining a resolution, ordinance process.
Make a motion that Resolution 2024 R77 be considered read.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion that Resolution 2027 R77 we suspend all the rules and prevent the immediate consideration of the same.
Second.
Motion second, roll call. Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes.
And finally, I make a motion that Resolution 2024 R77 be adopted and approved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Same process on 12, remaining a resolution, ordinance process.
Make a motion that resolution 2024 R78 be considered read.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion that we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of resolution 2024 R78.
Second.
Motion second, roll call. Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes.
Make a motion that resolution 2024 R78 be approved and adopted.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Let me catch up here. All right, item number 13, listed as budgeted. If I could get some movement on the resolution.
Make a motion that Resolution 2024 R79 be considered read.
We're going to go through the regular resolution process. We're not going through.
Be
Oh, I'm sorry.
approved.
Yeah. This is the one, most of it's budgeted, but there's
Oh, that's right. This is the $2,000. Thank you, Councilman Box.
Correct. Make a motion that Resolution 2024 R79 be considered read.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion we suspend all rules to prevent the immediate consideration of Resolution 2024 R79.
Second.
Motion second, roll call.
Yes.
London, Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes.
Finally, make a motion that Resolution 2024 R79 be adopted and approved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okie dokie. Thank you for that. All right, next item number 14.
Do we need
Standard.
to
Make
Make
a
it-
motion to remove item number 14, which is Resolution 2024 R48A.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Make a motion that Resolution 2024 R80 be considered read.
Second.
Sorry, wait, is this just to be a
This is just a regular
Yeah,
resolution.
there's no
Yeah,
motion.
you
Yeah.
got there a little too quick for me.
I hear you. Make a motion that
Be
Resolution
approved.
2024 R80 be approved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion that resolution 2024. Oh, wait.
This is a remaining a resolution, but this one is going through the
Three-step.
ordinance process.
Make a motion that resolution 2024 R81 be considered read.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of resolution 2024 R81.
Second.
Motion second, roll call. Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes.
Make a motion, resolution 2024 R81 be approved and adopted.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
17, resolution or ordinance, please.
Yes, I'm looking, I'm just trying to get my notes together. Item number 17 would be a remaining a resolution ordinance process.
Thanks, sir. Make a motion that Resolution 2024 R82 be considered read.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion we suspend all rules that prevent the immediate passage of 2024 R82.
Second.
Motion second. Roll call. Councilman London.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar.
Yes.
Councilman Box.
Yes.
Councilman Sims.
Yes.
And myself, yes.
I make a motion that resolution 2024 R82 be approved and adopted.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. If
Make a
anyone,
motion that resolution 2024 R53 be approved.
Second.
motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm going to do
No.
roll call just for clarification. Councilman London.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar.
No.
Councilman Box.
No.
Councilman Sims.
Yes.
And myself, yes. That item passes.
I make a motion that resolution 2024-R83 be approved.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
No.
No.
Roll call. Councilman London.
No.
Councilwoman Cuellar.
Yes.
Councilman Box.
Yes.
Councilman Sims.
No.
And myself, no. 18 wins the day. Item number 20, that is a resolution ordinance process.
Make a motion that resolution 2024 R84 be considered read.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye.
Make a motion resolution 2024 R84, we suspend all the rules that will prevent the immediate consideration of same.
Second.
Motion second, roll call. Councilman London.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar.
Yes.
Councilman Box.
Yes.
Councilman Sims.
Yes.
And myself, yes.
Make a motion that resolution 2024 R84 be adopted and approved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Understood. Item number 21, resolution ordinance process.
Make a
make-
motion. You go.
I make a motion that resolution 2024-R85 be considered read.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye. I make a motion that we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance 2024-R85.
Second.
Motion second, roll call. Councilman London.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar.
Yes.
Councilman Box.
Yes.
Councilman Sims.
Yes.
And myself, yes.
I make a motion that resolution 2024-R85 be approved and adopted.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
And finally,
I make a motion that ordinance 2024-06 be considered read.
Second.
motion second, all in favor?
Aye. I make a motion,
What? Okay, let's clarify that. I heard a little bit of disjointed. Councilman London, do you consider that read?
Yeah, we'll let it go through the process.
So you do agree to let it be read?
Let it go. Let it-
Okay, gotcha. Councilwoman Cuellar, Councilman Box, you agree to let it be read? Councilman Sims, you agree to let it be read?
Yes.
I agree to let it be read.
I make a motion that we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance 2024-06.
Second.
Motion, second, roll call. Councilman London?
No.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
No.
Councilman Sims?
No.
And myself, no. Okay. All right. That being said, we have no executive sessions. We are done with our deliberation.
I do have.
Thank you very much for coming out tonight.
I
ask
have
for a
one.
motion.
I have one announcement. The farmers market.
Yes, sir.
Farmers market will start this coming Saturday at 8:00.
Thank you, sir.
And it'll be right here behind.
And we have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion adjourned.
Motion seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.